Laureen, this is,
Yeah, I'm here.
can you email me the legislation that's on the agenda?
I did. I emailed everybody, and then the
Okay,
report too,
I'll go ahead
and the
and
agenda.
I got the agenda. Oh, I'll go ahead and
Yeah.
look around. Thank you. Go back on mute. Can you,
Okay. All right.
let me see if there's any committee members on here. Committee members, are you online?
Delegate James on the line, yeah, even.
James. Good morning, Honorable James. What about Honorable Eugene So? Shinalisha or Shima, Madam Chair.
Mr. So,
Oh,
Otto,
go ahead.
did she tell you that you're going to be chairing the meeting?
Oh, yes, that's
Okay.
what I already talked with her. So I'm seeing if there's
Okay.
the third member. Um,
Okay.
let's give it about 3 more minutes, and we'll go ahead and start.
Okay.
Okay, let's go ahead and get the show on the road. I know that we only have one committee member, myself, on the line. Madam Chair will probably be getting on the line in a bit. but I don't with that I'm just gonna do a real quick general. I know the Honorable Vince James on the line. Honorable So, are you on the line? Honorable Eugene So, are you on the line? Uncle Shane? It looks like, and then Honorable Vince James, you're on the line, correct? Still?
Oh, it's not a,
Okay. Kushida, since we don't need a quorum to go ahead and do reports, we're gonna go ahead and move forth with reports until we get a another committee member on the line. Ako with that is let's go ahead and start off with an invocation, and maybe we can ask Shanant, Vince James, can you provide an invocation for us this morning?
Hakashina is not a, yeah. A chita to the Zendeniki Bay Yashkit Dole. But then who showed on the house must cut the end lane, the quiet chaos is car has argue. So the Zendeniki bench, Hanana Stick Dole, non order committee. Bidi Nigo, dig it out a Kohashin, so baseball underneath Liniki, it's unknown hit that Neliki, ya, quite a. Asana lately, but not a quite gay. It's now make lodo, hit the and then he get on he got told a fish. Yet the hard net a linko. I don't under conzato, your scarto or athlete be a co. I'll sponge a edition and so on the snell coco. I'll swatch it a con hit the net a day carto, but now has ado. Conzato a co, but hadita hit the and then he get coco. Abenik sort of benil anit out in hat unleniki ko papa yel tito pananit out a consistential holcism leco. Adot out a code, not ayat a hiki, not ayat in Johnny ko yat a ko. The law has angeto, about it I has anje, put out a ba. A nahat a by yet he has anje a ko beha bebaha state or lesson so on the snehons at the whole just a host was hard a lazy ko art 100 a ko adola a ko ya do ya not a do yen hit every hour a conzat in his whole just leco ko abenil so dobenil anate a ko the annis has anje a ko papa hanate the store ko a shilja dot on his father has a mate out a co baba nate on coco a consistent his whole just coco net neja on it or net neja out on his now hold just to listen so on the snare coco as one a data adola hashint ashin days nishi but that this I can his ishtan a yosen I don't under con hashin so in hidden there. Date machine to a to hashit a shade or a home and his e and condia dan shade a echo. Not at a home about it on a conduct then his whole just leco. What are a echo art on the a edition and so on the snare for corn has going Hazan in Hatchina. Here wait not or chief a echo. The kind of dog for a benashni or listen so on the snare coco. Not gloshy they catch it within some is na whole on his last soil a home yard or benashni or listen so on the snare coco. Adopon Hashint a sheet a con hit the end Leniki con savage and the hoy nado but in the hoist air coco yard on habit dingly on her a yabaha in law not it zado ho yard el taya hot eho. They all asked to let Hobbits East and Leniki Coco. Adoko Hashit, Asian stock conch and Leniki, they car, Cohon, Adot, on it, Jahanada or Lado, Lesnada, but Zildo, listen so on the snare conch must hard indeed. Hane large, she thought the Leniki, they had dot the door, where na ito kasin de eya ikon adot ehoko dien has age eya ikon enashne do aden kon totizem linikishan na do ladon hanade yi do lisson dishne ko must hard in de ko adot ehoko ha shada na kosmitli as ne snatchen so just of osti de ben sa just now del all the end the holone the internet the hono so den he hono hojon has claim to le hojon has claim.
Thank you very much, members, Mr. Janella, for providing the invocation to the to this meeting here. With that, I appreciate it, and with that, we have some items on the agenda. I don't see honorable Eugene So on the line, and I don't see Madam Chair on the line. So there's two of us. Honorable Edmund Yazi, are you on the line? Once, twice, three times. Hakushila. With that, we're going to go directly into receiving reports. Report A, report from member of the Navajo Nation Cyber Team on the Navajo Nation Broadband Middle Mile Strategic Plan presentation. I believe a presentation was made on 2/8/21, the Law and Order with Law and Order Committee's request. And I believe the information has been emailed out. I did talk with Lorraine related to that that issue, and we have that presentation. We have that, and I don't really quite remember why we're bringing them back today, but I believe they should have the information for the committee. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the floor over to, is there anybody from the broadband people? Kaylala?
Good morning, Vice Chair. This is Pearl Lee with Navajo Nation Telecommunication Utilities and member of the Navajo Cyber Team.
Okay, Pearl Lee, looks like you're gonna be the person to give the report, and I believe it's a continuing report. Well, we're with a new meeting. You have 20 minutes as of oh, hold on. Okay, Madam Chair is on the line. Gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order at 10:19 a.m. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the floor over to Sherelle. Roll call.
Okay, roll call for Law and Order Committee. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton.
Charles Newton is present.
Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton is present. Honorable Vince James.
Delegate James present.
Honorable Vince James is present. Honorable Eugene So. Honorable Otto So.
I am present here in Winter Rock, Arizona.
Honorable Otto So is present. Honorable Edmund Yazi. Honorable Eugene So. Honorable Edmund Yazi. Chair, you have 3 members present, which constitutes a quorum.
Hello, are we still on the line?
Oh,
Hello, can you hear me?
Madam Chair, I was on mute here. Okay, with that, I'm going to go on to the invocation has been provided by Honorable Vince James. And going to go to item number 2 on the agenda. Recognizing guests and visiting official. Navajo Nation Cyber Team introduction. Who's all on the line from Navajo Cyber Team?
Morning. This is Pearl Lee, Program Manager with Navajo Nation Telecommunication Utilities and member of the Navajo Cyber Team.
Okay.
Pearl,
Anybody else?
this is Joe Corella from Magellan supporting you.
Okay. Anybody else part of this presentation for the cyber team? Okay. Next, with that, Navajo criminal investigation. Anybody on the line?
Yeah, it's Michael Henderson, Director of Criminal Investigations.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Henderson, for being on the line. And then Legislative Council, are you on the line? Introduction purpose.
This is Mr. Cook with Legislative Council. I'm standing by. Good morning, Madam Chair and Honorable Otto and delegates.
Okay. With that, who's on the line from the judicial branch? Once, twice, 3 times, Mr. Boat. With that, we have.
Good afternoon, delegate. Good morning, delegate. So this is Raquel Chi with Judicial. I apologize.
Member, our staff member from the Navajo Nation Legislative Office, Lorraine, and can you introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah, Lorraine Spencer, yeah. Legislative Advisor for Law and Order Committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Sherelle?
Good morning. My name is Sherelle Nota, Legislative Assistant for LOC.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, we have the committee members and Raquel Cheese on the line also representing the judicial branch. With that, I'm going to move forth on the agenda to number 3, reviewing and adopting the agenda. With that, I'm going to need a motion from the committee members.
Delegate James.
Motion by Charles Newton.
Motion by Honorable Vince James, and I'm going to call for a second. I'm going to go ahead and use Madam Chair for the seconding motion. With that, Honorable Virginia Charles Newton. With that, committee members, the agenda is before you. We have a motion in place. We have a second in place. And with that, Lorraine, can you read the agenda into the record? Staff, can you guys read the agenda into the record?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair. Agenda of the Law and Order Committee, 24th Navajo Nation Council, regular meeting, February 22nd, 10 a.m. Presiding, Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton, Chairwoman, Honorable Otoso, Vice Chairperson. Going down, number 1, call meeting to order, roll call and invocation. Number 2, recognize guests and visiting officials. Number 3, review and adopt agenda. Number 4, review and adopt the journals. There's none. 5, receiving reports. A, report from member of the Navajo Nation Cyber Team on Navajo Nation Broadband Middle Mile Strategic Plan presentation on February 8th, 2021. The Law and Order Committee requested for the following information. As follows: solicitation for broadband consultant. Number 2 is Navajo Nation Middle Mile Complete Plan. Number 3, NA BIMY-26-19 resolution authorizing creation of the ad hoc committee. Number 4 will be the draft Broadband Act, and number 5 is the broadband presentation to LOC committee presented on 2/8/21. Those are all emailed out to the members. Going down to B, report from Michael Henderson, Director of Criminal Investigation regarding the overall office operation. Going to C, report from Office of Legislative Counsel on the status of Title 17 revision. D, report from Judicial Branch on in regards to paying process servers where they paid. Going to old business, none. 7, new business, legislation number 0011-21. And 8, close the meeting announcement and adjournment. Vice Chair, thank you.
Thank you very much, Lorraine, for reading the agenda into the record. And with that, we have a motion in place. We have a second in place. Motion held by Honorable Vince James, and second held by Madam Chair Eugenia Charles Newton. With that, any changes to the agenda that is recommended or proposed by the committee members? Go once, twice, 3 times. With that, I'm going to go ahead and call for the question, and Sherelle, go ahead and call for roll call.
Okay, roll call vote. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton.
Charles Newton votes green.
Honorable Charles Newton votes green. Honorable Vince James.
Delegate James votes green.
Honorable James votes green. Honorable Eugene So.
Green.
Honorable Eugene So votes green. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. No. Vice Chair, you have 3 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 not voting, 1 is absent, and 1 is the Vice Chair that is not voting.
For the record, motion carries, and motion carries with 3 in favor, 0 opposed, and chair not voting. And let the record reflect that Honorable Eugene So is present, is on the phone here. Good morning, Shanala. And with that, we have adopted our agenda. We're going to go on to item number 4, reviewing and adopting the journals. Then right now we don't have any. With that, that clears item 4 on the agenda. We'll go to item 5 on the agenda. Receiving reports from report A, report from member of the Navajo Nation Cyber Team and Navajo Nation Broadband Middle Mile Strategic Plan presentation. A presentation was provided to the Law and Order Committee on February 8, 2021, and request for the following information. And the information are put on the agenda, and we believe we have that information. And Ms. Lee, I believe she's on the phone, and Navajo Nation Cyber Team, the members, you have 20 minutes to present to the committee. And with that, if you're going to allow individuals to speak, be mindful of your time. At the end, if you need additional 5 more minutes, we can add on another 5 minutes to your plan, to your time there. So with that, it's 10:30, and you have 20 minutes to present to the committee. Navajo Nation Cyber Team, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yat ebene she pearly and she touching and slant 20 chin buses chain key on dash tray. Good morning, everyone. I'm here on behalf of the Navajo Nation Cyber Team as a follow-up to our presentation that we did on February 8th. At that time, U.S. Delegate, Honorable Delegate Eugenia Charles Newton requested for 4 items. So we sent those out, I think, last Tuesday to Laureen. We also included a 5th item, which was the broadband presentation that we did on 2/8. So I'll quickly go over the documents. So the first one is the solicitation for the broadband consultant. Joe, can you bring that up?
Yes, I can. 1 second.
So this is the RFQ that went out went out, I think it was in July, and the proposals were due August 16, 2019. And our office is the one that issued the proposal. Can you go next page? So basically the schedule of activities was we started advertising in August 4th, and we opened the proposal August 19th. We selected a vendor. As I recall, we got 4 bids. I think it was America's Communication. I forget who the other ones were. Go ahead and go down to the scope of work. So section 2 was the scope of work, and there was, if you go to C, there were 4 deliverables. One was the development of a Navajo Nation broadband IT infrastructure assessment report. The second item was facilitation of a Navajo Nation broadband strategic planning session for the Navajo Nation cyber team. Third was development of a middle mile plan. And fourth, development of a request for proposal for broadband public-private partnership. And 5, development of broadband policy reform report. So that was basically the request for proposal. We did an evaluation, and then in the end, Magellan advisors were selected as the broadband consultant, and we initiated their contract through the 164 review process, and it was eventually signed by the president, and a contract was executed in September. So that's how they're on board now. So let's go to the next document, which is the Navajo Nation Middle Mile Complete Plan. This is a huge document. And it has 172 pages, but I'll just go over the table of contents. It's basically what we, at a high level, we presented this on February 8th. So basically there's an executive summary, just basically going over the history of the deployment of Navajo Nation, our broadband deployment, identifying the nation's key issues and roadblocks, talking about the Navajo Nation fiber network enterprise, the vision for the Navajo Nation fiber, some proposed networks, a little bit about the Navajo fiber network enterprise cost summary, some funding opportunities, talks about governance, and then recommendations on asset and infrastructure, governance and oversight, policies and procedures, improving existing functions to enhance the quality of life. It talks about next steps, review plan recommendation with NNTRC, and we are currently working on that. Review middle mile strategic plan with committees and Navajo Nation Council, and we've completed the review for all 4 committees. And we've returned to LOC just to provide additional information. Our plan is to present the final strategic plan to Navajo Nation Council. And then the final Broadband Act to the Navajo Nation Council. then it ends with some recommendation and a number of tables. But we're available, you know, with any questions you have. Once you have time to go through this whole document, you know, you can just reach out to myself or any of the cyber team members, and then we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. The next document is the Nabi Resolution, which was passed in May of 2019, which basically directed the establishment of an ad hoc team made up of IT representatives, and that is the nomination or Navajo cyber team. So this is the resolution. Let's go to the whereas clause, or I'm sorry, the therefore be it resolved. It's on A, then the 24th Nomination Council hereby reaffirms NABI F-13-18 as passed by the 23rd Nomination Council. B, the NABI Committee of the 24th Council hereby establishes an ad hoc committee composed of all information technology professionals from all three branches to work with the NNTRC and other government and telecommunication industry stakeholders on an IT broadband action plan to support all emergency communication, including police and fire, EMS, call taking, and dispatch functions. The action plan shall assess and make recommendations to improve, expand, and establish network technology and systems to support public safety, including but not limited to the following. 1, upgrades to two-way or land mobile radio networks in support of police, fire, and rescue personnel. 2, expansion of commercial consumer 4G, 5G cellular and landline networks supporting E911, next generation 911 to PSAP delivery, as well as wireless emergency alerts, WEA, and other public notification protocols. And 3, deployment of FirstNet and interoperable public safety broadband networks being deployed by AT&T dedicated to first responders. C, the ad hoc committee shall be coordinated by the Nomination Council Speaker or his designee in order to provide timely reports and presentations to all standing committees as needed or directed, beginning June 2019, ending in October 2019. Although it ended, we continued to work on this task that was given to us by NABI. So the next document is the Draft Broadband Act.
One second. So sorry, 1 second.
Joe, do you want me to forward it to you?
No, I have it, Pearl. I'm sorry.
Okay, here we go. So basically, at a high level, the Broadband Act is declaring broadband as a critical infrastructure on the Navajo Nation and for other purposes. So looking at the table of contents, there's 9 sections. First is the authority. Section 2 is the declaration of findings. 3, definitions. 4, fair and competitive broadband environment. 5 is the nomination broadband technological advisory group. 6 addresses any revisions in code. 7 is the nomination broadband cooperative. 8, the broadband enterprise fund, and section 9, rule addressing plus codes. So,
And I believe this has been, Pearl, if I may, this has been forwarded to NNTRC, which is having its internal and external counsel review it. This has also been forwarded to OLC.
okay, yes. So, let's go to the first section. I don't have much time, but let's see. So like I said, the first section is the authority. The second section is the declaration and findings, basically, just declaring broadband as a critical infrastructure. Going to 3, just definitions on broadband, the cooperative, FCC, what IT is, what plus codes are, what telecommunication is. Section 4 addresses fair and competitive broadband environment. Basically, that has to be consistent with FCC. We encourage broadband competition and consumer choice. And NTRC's act of the Public Regulatory Committee, ensure fair and transparent pricing. 5, it looks at the BTAG, nomination BTAG group, which is basically, you could think it as Navajo Cyber Team transitioning to the BTAG, which is represented by all branches, and their responsibility would be, go down, Joe. Guess we haven't fully defined that. 5 is the broadband plan.
No, those
I'm sorry, those are the responsibilities. I'm sorry.
Correct.
They would be responsible for the broadband plan, the assessment, policy directives. Section 6 is we know that some code will have to be amended.
Pearl,
so we've tried to address that there.
Pearl, if I may, under 5, the pursuit of federal, state, and private funds, which leads right into the HR 133 discussion as well.
Okay, going to 6, section 6. We've identified that Title 2 or Title 21 would need to be amended to include broadband. Title 6, changes to building standards. Title 16, changes to right-of-way, just to cover telecommunication. Title 26, just to maximize the local government's authority. And then any other that's identified. Section 7 is a cooperative, where basically that's where all the service providers come together and they work together to ensure that all of Navajo is covered and there's no duplicate applications for service providers with the federal government. Then, of course, Section 8 is the Broadband Enterprise Fund. Out of the Broadband Act, their fees may be assessed, and all these monies that are generated through leasing, maybe with the fiber build out. Navajo could lease it out, and we get the monies back, and they would be deposited into the Broadband Enterprise Fund to be used for broadband. Section 9 is the rural addressing, because rural addressing is part of the inclusive of broadband. So basically that's a high level overview. And I think I'm at 15 minutes now. So does any other cyber team want to add anything?
Pearl, this is Joe. I believe we did not get through the full presentation, so if we could ask for a 5-minute extension, we could run through an abbreviated presentation of the slides we did not cover last time.
Okay, we have about 4 minutes.
Pearl, Pearl, let me do this. Committee members, is there a consensus to add 5 minutes to the 20 minutes that's added to this, to their time? I just need a consensus. I'm gonna go once, twice, 3 times. Committee members. Okay, continue, Pearl. You still have 4 minutes.
Okay, I'm not sure where we left off, Joe, so I didn't do the presentation last time.
Well, I think we were going through the presentation, if I may. The org chart that is in front of you, honorable committee members, the blue boxes represent existing Navajo Nation organizations. We're proposing the yellow box be added, the program office, the broadband office, working in executive. We are not yet sure where the final reporting should be, whether it's directly to OPVP, to DIT, or to NTU. NNTRC would focus on regulatory. Broadband office would focus on the operations and construction of a middle mile network. And this purple box at the bottom would be the formalized cyber team, the BTAG, broadband technology advice provided to 4 entities: the broadband office, the office of the president and vice president, the council, and NNTRC. Later, if and when the Broadband Act is enacted, creating the broadband cooperative. We want to emphasize that as we go forward, we want to negotiate usage and service pricing prior to funding being committed, so we avoid a repetition of the BTOP fiber that is owned by NTUA and ostensibly usable by the nation, but there's no formal agreement in place. E-rate fiber, as you know, the nation was awarded $53 million a week before last. We would like to discuss overbuilding because there are limits on who can use E-rate fiber. Schools, libraries, and Head Starts. For chapters and other government entities to use fiber, we would have to install extra fiber. So there's an opportunity to add additional fiber. And finally, we want to plan funding early. On the next few slides, we'll look at the opportunities for a Navajo-owned middle mile network funded by federal funds. I'll just focus briefly just on line 905 because that is urgent. That is $1 billion reserved for tribal nations that must be equitably distributed. It is there can only be one application per entity. The Navajo Nation must coordinate a consolidated list of projects. The others are less urgent for now. Conscious of time, we're looking for full council acceptance of the middle mile plan. We'd like to get some operating funds to be able to apply for grants under Section 905. We are meeting with the Speaker's office tomorrow to make the same presentation that we have made to you. This slide represents funding for the broadband office, for the cyber team for fiscal 21. The third and fourth lines represent funding we're asking for application of the Section 905. We might be looking at several $100 million in an ask. We are speaking with each of the division managers in the executive branch, as well as the judicial and, of course, legislative branches.
Joe, you got 30 seconds.
No problem. Here's the key items. The Section 905 timeline, we expect that the notice of funding opportunities will be delivered this week. There are 90 days for tribes to submit an application, so we must move quickly. We expect that will be due by May 26th. By August 26th, the federal government will make a decision, and funding authorization expires for the federal government at the end of their fiscal year, September 30th. We would take any questions. That last item, the urgency of planning for 905 is critical. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much, guys, for your presentation and to the committee. And you provided what additional documents that the committee wanted or needed on the February 8th meeting. And I appreciate your presentation. And with that, committee members, I'm going to call for a motion.
Eugene So.
Motion by Honorable Eugene So. Second motion. Request for a second. You go once. Twice. Or I say 3 times. Honorable James, are you on the line?
Second by Charles Newton.
Okay, second by Honorable Madam Chair. With that, committee members, is there any questions to the presenters? Go once, twice, and 3 times. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and call for. I'm just gonna ask just one question that I guess I would like to just present to you guys is that the communication with the with RDC and the communication with the Navajo General Leasing Act or GLAD office, General Land Development Office, and the communication between the entities that will be utilizing these services, like public safety. What is the communication that's going on right now between the three or all these entities that have oversights, and how well is it going? That's the only question that I have, and I'll call for the question after. Thank you very much. Pearl?
Yes, Vice Chair. So for clarification, when you say communication with RDC and General Land Leasing Development Office and the service providers, is that with the cyber team here, the communication with us, or between those three?
Yes, between those three, because you're talking about policy that you're developing, and how is the communication between the oversight of telecommunication and the individuals that are going to be at the table relating to this development of this plan? How is that how is that process going, and are you guys in that process now, or are you just developing that process? Idea.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair, for that question. So since we started this whole effort in 2018, we started with a now a nationwide IT infrastructure assessment. At that time, we hired America's Communication. And with the completion of that project, we had Navajo Land Development involved, and at the end of the completion, and all that data was shared with Mike's office. So the communication has always been there. And we continue to keep him updated. Just with the recent award of the E-rate funding from USAC. Last week I provided him with the all the information, the sites that are going to be where the fiber installs will occur. So we've continued to communicate with land department, not so much with General Land Lease Development Office, because the reason for that is the right-of-way is approved through the Navajo Land Department. And we've made several presentations to RDC regarding the Navajo Cyber Team's effort, through, our assessment and so forth. So, and we did present where we're at, the same presentation to them last week. So that communication is ongoing, but we have not shared the Broadband Act with them. We're trying to clear it with NNTRC first and have their legal Council review it, and then Office of Legislative Services. So we're in preliminary review before we, increase the amount of review by, including land development. But I guess one of our biggest concerns would be that, especially with the recent award for E-rate, the right-of-way approvals are going to have to, go pretty fast. So I'm hoping that Land Department can get through those pretty quick, so we can get those installs done. So that's basically where it's at. I'm not sure if I fully answered your question, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just wanted a general idea if there's any communication with those programs, because the direct oversight is RDC, and that you're talking as you were speaking to right-of-way issues. There's issues relating to as you were talking about setting up a separate fund, and there's issues that are going on with right-of-ways, where right-of-ways are being fees are being I guess waived, and it really defeats the purpose if this is going to be an account that's going to be set up for those purposes, and we have a committee that's going to waive these right-of-way fees, and there's going to be no revenue generated from that. So those are the things that I that just came to mind, because anytime NTWA comes to the for right-of-way, they usually ask for a waiver. And once that waiver is put in place, they usually say, oh, it's for grandma. Grandma wants internet. And they will utilize that, and everybody will say, oh, okay, grandma, waive the fee for grandma for internet, or waive the fee for grandma for the water or power. But bottom line is that, these right-of-way fees, that, the income generated off of it, whether it's water, sewer, electric, fiber, things like that. And so that's the reason why I'm saying that communication really needs to happen, so that you have a finished product on the draft Broadband Act. And, whether you need to put into that draft Broadband Act that right-of-way fees will not be waived. And bottom line is to create revenue to try to sustain this program. And that's just what I want to allow you guys to think about. And I appreciate the report. I heard the first report, and on the 8th, and now I heard the information provided to us is suffice, and I'm okay with it. Again, thank you very much. And that's all I wanted to hear. But just as a recommendation, continue working with those entities so that you guys are all on one page. And I believe Navajo General Leasing Development Office has contracted out to Vertical Bridge to seek out information to towers across the Navajo Nation. And towers and this broadband stuff, well, they all link together, and that's the reason why I'm saying that, is that you have to have that communication so that you guys are all singing one tune, not different songs. So that's just my comment from here to you guys, and something to think about. I don't want to hold you guys up, but I believe I did call for the question. With that, Sherelle, go ahead and call for the...
Otto, a question.
Sherelle?
Otto, question.
Eugene.
Okay.
Okay, Eugene, so one question.
I'm sorry for delaying your meeting, Sonata. But regards to communication and this is a dog Texas regards to these plans, I'm not satisfied regards to oversight committees. To me, I have Chinle, there's a big area. You can say, yes, Carl Slater and Mr. Key Allen Begay is there. But does he tell every one of my voters, close to 4,000, what is happening regards to what we're doing with broadband and et cetera and everything else across the Navajo Nation government? So with these, I feel, like some of these bigger areas of with over 300 or 3,000 voters, et cetera, needs to really hear these things instead of just an oversight committee, because that's their chain of command, all these divisions and departments and other entities. I really don't understand who made this government the way it is with the oversight committee, with 4 oversight committees, because that's not the Navajo way. The next I should go ask for all this. It's not. It's the people's government. They have a say so. In this case, we're doing things up here in the Window Rock without the knowledge of my grandma over there or grandpa's, and they don't know what's happening. And also the kids, grandkids, some of them don't know. So I'm not in favor of this oversight, because only that committee has the authority, and some of them have the final authority. Without the knowledge of the other council delegates and the people that voted them in and their whole community, they don't know about it, some of them, because sometimes we cannot have a say-so in these committees. They always ask for member of the RDC or member of the Action, Health and Education, etc. So these are the circumstances that we're in as a Navajo Nation government. It contradicts the fundamental law, Title I. So credit all his files, and just to let you know, just to inform you that this the way of the government that we have is not for the Navajo people, because some of them don't know anything about what's going on within the LOC or within the RDC or in the health education or the budget and finance. All should be reported to all 24 members, whatever is going on within the government. And I feel strongly for that, because my people wants to hear what's going on in the government. And they voted me in for that. And I'm denying them of it. I'm violating their rights with the oath I took. Thank you. Another.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eugene So Shanala, for your comment. I do solely agree with your comment and pertaining to the overall of committee assignments, and a delegate coming from a large community versus a smaller communities has there's a huge difference. I do agree with you, Chanant. I appreciate your comment with that. With that, I'm going to go ahead and call for a question. Sherelle, go ahead and call for a roll call vote.
Okay, roll call. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton.
Charles Newton votes green.
Honorable Charles Newton votes green. Honorable Vince James.
Delegate James votes green.
Honorable James votes green. Honorable Eugene So.
Yes, thank you.
Honorable So votes green. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. Honorable Edmund Yazzie. Chair, you have 3 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 not voting, 1 is absent, Edmund Yazzie, and Vice Chair not voting.
Thank you very much. Motion carries motion placed by Honorable Eugene Sal, second held by Honorable Madam Chair Eugenia Charles Newton. 3 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting, and with Edmund Yazzie absent from the meeting. With that, we accept your report. Thank you very much, Pearl and the Navajo Nation Cyber Team for your report. With that, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda. And Mr. Michael Begay, criminal investigation regarding overall office operation. Are you on the line?
Yeah, it's Michael Henderson.
Oh, yes, Michael Henderson. I'm sorry. With that,
Cool.
on the line, I'm going to go ahead and I know you have presented to the committee. You understand the 20-minute timeline, and your timeline will start as of now of 11:07. You have 20 minutes to present to the committee. You have the floor.
Hakoshila do shehe ade large the Santahagi do case Santahagi Aroshanat Ani Maslenigi. O shehe kodo Shahol Agiba Hinson. Aro Ari Benari that is not Sagi Albari that is not Sagi yet not for Alkahasin so shady. Tachi ni enchli do my dishki ne bashin to the jeep ne da shiche. Sayakin Sakabado Adishte. Die koje da alkahal aje the never salab isn't ije aje ya bitsi shitilia we na khidoba ayeta akho ahinsen die large ye ya bahashne do lehigi jo ya did the net in hospital the BIA de Office of Justice Service. Not so ye that this ago. The Nebakagi, the Nebakayapakagi. They has ani Washington, but they has ani. Kidagi Tigi, Nishkato Lish. Nihit Nego Ebe Bain High Sweet. The Navajo Department of Criminal Investigations, Nihit Nenigi. A decrease conduct she and what's a coave a copy is a statement of work. Even not a con a D nailka. Washington baby has anik at Kiko. Cornell ka when ye in hit. Ado in the Tae Ray Washington de Bagatit Ahin has Ade Katahuisto de New Mexico, Arizona do Utah. Ade esto Benal to speak ho. Washington baby has ani get Kiko jo aje esto big ho na ilka. Accord Ado Belache di what our knowledge na his really di isto Accord never Washington has ando Nihinand Ani President's office to Ade not so so non nisi to ADA la as a bit odd the lash lie Nihitne that was a haleho odd ya the kena ilka had ila iskila to had out la jitenla the dinash carton he did not son high speed it Accord the never Washington Ade Accord death certificate ye that hegi in ye yard had a deal neton laho state vital statistics a comp beda yil ni what on he man should kahasin lo According kwa saga hotan has anigi ya deep milt kwa headquarters gina haitra Ado eti managay halpago so split hahot zogo salab khata huistogo ko esto yad na askato leshigi baholo a consonal. AD kwa esalaho tlan has anigila. I don't know shipwreck. The old Crown Point, Tuba City, Chinley, Kayenta, do Delcon. The called out a yard. Na nish, it's not all kako. A codi, the called district score, the had a whistlogo. A call a yam, not any has trago a con, yada halia. Ado a senior criminal investigator بديتنا أبي نحو نادنا الكاب الأهوز نيجي ما كتاب تهو كون دارنش أدو دي آني دقو نخاني هاجي criminal investigators خستان تهو كون دارنش إن دي evidence technician بديتنا نيجي بناتش آهوين تيجو دول ليشكو انتهت لهاجي الكيت من الدويا هالي نيجي Go Econ, the Ilnish. Ado in the Tadina Solicitation de Neligi, Senior Office Specialist. Solicitation, he can't not jack on Dalish. A quite, I need ego. A slatin doba and Asa need. Could our equa, the never clear Nas of a Kagi, they need Nishdi, Department of Criminal Investigation has Aja. A call Ado AD Banahash Neto Leshigi a yam. The larger bin Yedo Leshigi bin Yesi Neldo Leshigi. Jo a yabin Nachaban Tahacheso. Dalit ego a yam Nishiten Lashly. A kid but the Negido Betan Higi Ahasban has ad. Khalid ego ya bakati bakane jato le la khat ale in el nisho bone trando le la njon ko la bakati el wal khat ale hot do le la khat ale in hoti ale has an idil nisko hot ale be ben del nishto le la jodi gi fi laje khassa ago na nish na khat daswat أخذي بناتش خشناجي نوي نزنا نخجة بيجي إيجا خدون نايل خاجي الخنا نلقى نا كدميل يجدب آن نزنا يخادا دوشتي نا كدميل يجدب آن هست إذا تهي خشنة كونه لا دفيل خا ريت أو يا نخزا إلا تيجي أو شدا يجلو أكودي الخنا نلقى أو يانا نايشنا إندي أشكني تسوق أكو نا كدميلياج دبان نا نزناي خاتون لي نا كدميلياج دبان تيتا تهي خاتن نا أسكاجي جو ياد أشلا دميلياج دبان last eight and there's nothing about cutting the bar so ko ya nsi kha 80 hinta itegi ado hatkita hil enigi nta hin lgaligi ado nta hil seidigi ado howan yahata naho tan ihigi ado howan alta de dil kahagi ado achidi do da hita ihigi ado ndeta Nini to the Yosh on Kim Melota Ihigi Aro and the Chita in Ihigi D larger Nail Kako a Conel Del in field car a Codi Aro na kid na Kidemilias doba Ashlata Yahata do na kidemilias doba an hast eight at tahi khache ajib lakha nanas lodati ita ya ashla de milias doba an hast eight ne na ti doba ashla ti doba ti kohen na sil kako ako di ko ya ta hotla di hot ana il kako ashla na khigo alta ado ashla na khinana kidi hot abshakha nas nilgo hot anil on ko di gisi mi bil agi khasilo edi gisi ta hot zagi jo ya di adi kwa na altkego iskinigi na skagi ashla ikha ashla na khaje to kidi ashla ikha na khaje ba jo na anigi edi asha abesul tligi ashla na nilgo ya na kiyal ar tadhani shibi bigaho akho mishta ahotza na altkid has anja أكو بانسحك شيء خليت أو إيد إلى خليت أو تلا تيش بنينا هوت إيخاشت أو إيكوا تهوت تلا إيديل أتخاسين لو خليت أو إيه بدأتيل مشكو جو إلون إيكو دو بدي بوباجنا دا ميلنش بانسنا دي كيس بننا دا خويتا أكو دي لا أقول هت هت أهند أهون لهجة أنا تيدا هالجنج أشيل خويل نأو إيد أو بنحش أشيل خلنا أيد أي ميلشن عشان التهاسي لودو عادي شنات آني نسلنيجي أكو بنحش بان سنا هكيسو أيدي بحشنا أجي جو أي يا أيدي كوه بهز آني واشنطن بهز آني كأل تونجي تا إيدي بايشتي نسيل خاجي نانا ساتش باجنا هنا أنيجي شاتونا نشنات بينان هي تسوين دشنيجي إيدي نغي زي الإيد بتعاده بلا أشتلاقي بزي هاللي هو كي هاتي هو جو إي آجب دينيل نشكي جو إي يا بهز آني كأل تونجي باهتن إيد أو هذا شيء يا ما تخص عندك هذا جدا إيرو تقو زين هجد أو ده بتعاده جدا إيرو تقو ده هون شدي كده تنتهى بتعاده تعتمدي توي أجهد أبني هذا شيء نشلته شيء تو لا أقو باجهد أهل ده جالتو نه خاجة تدهني شيء لي هستخدم نتين بخوي نه لأن ده يتلاحظ عليه هو النهز آجو آرو هو أبتخي أن لي خلباد أداة تنيجي جو أيو هتاو إياب بالديل مشو هتاو إيا هو الجشيكو سو تخاسي سو أكو دي إيا ناسكو أشتهي كوينت أنا هتشني دي إيا أكون فستدو سلاو بشهده استلقو بتخاكين ستلاتي كواشيكي هاتيني دوشتي قد إيغو لاي إندهستي قد إيلاي بي إندهستي أكو آري كاسن نصليني اللاجة واساها نصلاني جو إيدي نالكاكو دونات آنشيش نهنتا خاشيت أو إنا أسكا خاي خاشن زاغو إي أولكا دي دا هوت أهجي دوجو بان دا هشنتا جونشي دوهنو أرون دتا دي نهي كواسن لبزي هالليها دي دا certificate نميجي خاجشا خاشيت أو دو خاتا داشيت أو إياد دوجو شانا الكاتا نودا جو دي دا أهجي باسا هالنولا أكو أدو إيام كواه إيدي بتباجنا دنيلنش خاد آل إبنا كود إيلا خاد خالد أو إياد آتفيلكو خاد آل إيا هذا بنا الكاهي هجو بيبسنا هو يلنتو ليشلا تديد آل باجنا دنيلنش خاد إيش بنينا خود خاد عشد أو إي كود جو إيه بناش إيه خاد أو إيا نالش نخاجنا دا سوت الشو أكودي دا آد ناشك خاجي ني سهو ندا هيلفي بيش بينات دهن ودا آرود خات أشيد أو ساد أو الخن دهي نيل تو إيه بيش ناو يل ناو إيلا إيه روت إيه دوليل جو خاجي نخويتا أكو أرو عندتا تيسها هاشين هذا آغو إيه يام آمشيت دي نايل كاجي سهو إيان آني تو إيت آن دهويل نتا خالة شهد إياد إن دهز تيكو دان لها وان هز آجة إيرو تاقون لهو قول تيكو دان ديك خيكو دهويل نتو خدات هجي دون لهو دهويل آهو دان ديك خيكو جو إبنينا شهو هد آن هز آلا أكون دلان خيت إياب جو إي خشت إيدي ميلا جو إيه هد آبنا جبان سحكي سلطو دي نخاط خاهل نتو ليسيكي إيه بتسمي كليلة victims advocate بديتنا إيه باهتنا إيه بنين خاجة هجو بيشي الكويل ناشين شتو وهد نخيات إيه توليس جو دي بتاتيلنش شتو إيه يا دي كون كوجة بك أهون ديل نشيكي بك أهو دي ميل نيشتو ليسيكي شتو بعد ناز أوت إيلا دي كوجة بك أهو دي ميل نيشتو ليسيكي دي procedures بدي ننجي شهوبا حتى تنقود إيلا إيشيلتو مكون بتاتيلنش دي procedures بدي ننجي هجولنا نخنا نشيجي باشكي ندا دي نشلو بين ندا تنيتيل خالن لاته إنه هاد تو ياش هونغو بهاخوت إيغو يميلنا غاب يغبنا هاد لأي يدو بكاي جيتلا هاد لأي هاد أني شدولتو بجنا ده يلنا لا جو أي هاد يابان سحكي زو هكذا جو بين داي نشيجي نشي بين النشا جو أندا ديكاس جو يات إيكو يدنا بان نادي نشتو ليش بان نادا إلكاتو ليش جو هاد بهذا الليابا إيه هاد يابان باتي ناني كدوباني كايكو كهاسينلو آرو اندا آشياني هاشكاشين دابسا بابشين دابسيو كوشين هات اي دوليش آرو اشتوشي اي يا دي دا كوجة هنا نشسلاي آجي اشتو اندا هزدي قد او اشتو اي اشتو بداديش اي دي procedures بعد أنا دي بعد هجي جوش إذا لياقو جوش كي نقنلا جو هاد إيه جنوشين هنا نشكي دول وشكود دول كوجة information management دي نيجي كيف نال social state أنا تهجين بسيل كاو بين دان تهجي إيه شتو كوه هاني تسوشين شتو هجو الكيد نيتنلا شيء تو هجو الكيد نديل دي بنحكي إيه هزن دو ليشجي دارا بدي نيجي بك هذا دارا نهي تلاقي إيه تو باقي هذا إيه شيء تو هجو الكيد نديل إيه تو باتي نانيك جو دولي جون قون إن دادي نيش أكو إيه بنحكي جو إيه دي دارا إيه تكون نيل نهالن AD base دا كيدو دو نال نشلا بنادا هيدو نشلا AD دارا أكيد يتزبا الناتج بي هزن دو ليشيكي تبن جنو با هذا اللي ياغو بي هذا اللي ياغو دي إندتا Benachin Jonago, basically unique head or this. Adding the Benache, Nad Nishe, Benanito, Nislajo, the unique head or this. Rodin head had then go. A stop Benache, be unique head or be unique head or this. Johot out a ya. Shinahat, I don't hit out a ya. That means Nishiko Kahasing so. Rodi kid a ya. Obajana dish us. Ya equal. Nashmigi now Honda Zagot Ayegun had me club. A Sanda lake or the Jonagon he tried this shot in some bound such case. A deed of yours isn't out dealing he added. A Sanal Katnas Nelbogadan Nelgo. The Nikis Aniki. Darlane la a ya. There has Aniki the ill tone. Halit out has Anna to issue her job as in the Hadil. Benina at the hot Haggy. Benina at the horn Nishiki. Issue her job. As was came Danny Nelacon. Wishing he tried this shot over Jod Aniki. She's now deal. She meal ego. She did no. What else she saw? Jonago, the Nache. Mrs. A husband of this has body at the horn Nishiki. The biscuit out any. Joshi yard. The Hiltonada Hodit Ash, the Shibana with all this. A call Kunstagoshido. A road of beaches houses net of the Chico Share.
Okay, thank you very much, committee members. Gonna call Mr. Henderson. Does that complete your report?
Oh, I'm so listen on that.
Was you gonna call for a motion? From the committee member. Motion by Honorable Eugene So, second in motion.
Second by Charles Newton.
Okay, second by Madam Chair. With that, committee members, do you have any questions for the presenter, Mr. Henderson?
Eugene So.
Okay, Honorable Eugene So, you have the floor.
Yeah, too. This is the house and Maggie. She didn't get lay down. Send me chicken and she know to the chin was a shinky on it as a cheat. What's on the channel? Asked us on that dish if ye go shit this Aggie. That's it. Then the other was at the husband. That's it. Maybe if it's very confidential, maybe executive session someday or some next week or something. If being a down. My question is, take a dish students because I get the way January 16th, it took over the White House. I gave cut on security or Hayinshi has been the kitchen security as minorities. As I go to all the stores or pawn shop, etc., where they sell ammo and weapons, shop at empty. And that's been like that since last year. It's still empty. My question is, or they ammo, or where is it all going? That's the scary part. Because we're a part of the minority, Navajo Nation, or all the indigenous people. I don't know if you guys are planning, being all planned or whatever might hit us or whatever. Because the weapons they have, I see assault weapon in danger. When you go to the store, you can't find 223s or 4-4s, 4-5s, 9mm. At 10. We don't see them no more. The question passion het aardig alle aanges ergens daar dat dan en daar dat het aardig. Executive session ben je gewoon naar dat je het ook voor in de ja but Jan sections la door ja het la and what are the plans what zago passion could not because I'm really worried about it. The net the asi at flip it now run has in again. She that I named it a long time ago. Our grandfathers said one day our kids is going to become our enemy. Maybe we're in that era now. So since what happened at the White House. So those are the things that I like to protect my people. How it doesn't the songs case even that because now they're finding out it goes all the way into the police department. They're all like that, and also into the armed service. They're all like that. I thought I heard that there's nanny in yet. And what are we doing on our side? It seems real scary. Now today I was listening to the Attorney General they're going to appoint, and he's going to go after everybody all the way back to Ku Klux Klan. So what are that a cadency because you can't find nothing. We can't use anything if anything happens. So it could be hospital if it's very untouchable question. I don't mind. I'll be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Eugene So. Any other questions to the presenter, committee members? Go once, twice, 3 times. All right, Mr. Henderson, have a response for Mr. Eugene So.
Oh, yeah, Nana Ade, another Untitled case, Untitled addition at Animalinigi. So Ade Kahas and Shota is not like how you're going to proceed with that. Yeah, Ado AP addition at Anin identity. So yard Ani in his own city. The Ani Anigo Bansi case. Kahasha Hodon So I bashed at the Nielsen. Hard the Shankodon Nil. High, Ashley that the jingle that the tail that a pina that the out that Ero Tagoda that the Hadi and gonna end the hui in the Yish cow that Ero Tagoda called the more shit on it on that. How Shankodon Nil, hard the Shankodon Nil. Oh, Joe had a yard, the way but I need to a resources with the Nigi, the way Washington did that in Michigan. I don't in the ATF that Hagido FBI that Hagi Homeland Security that Hagido a hotel a this class that is the built on got the hand Higi, to built on the honey Higi, Halit Asian built on the honey, Halit Asian built on the honey. Hado shan yisin tahani khishan ayisni to hot hagi kikida des ido de nason ba ini itlo ay ade yen kishin tahani ko ad intelligence bedi nanigi khan halo ay ade ni je khain beto ni je hodalne ko yisi hot ay yad large ba ini itlo ay benache nahuita I condemned that on Hikodo, the Naviki and Hasso of Kado, Ado Dit, on Hisha a yard, that is on Hisha a yard, they need Nistolis. So Edigit and the Benda with Adot and the Bayadelti. Accord Anahal Kedi a yard lay on Ashiani. The the never nahas of a kia, but or to argent the horn, needing the DJ. A con the dean here, yarn the Kushina KD, Nishosh Kash. DJ the horn, Nishigin Lahot or the way Ashlatne is not Nadine is card, the Shika and Nika Doshin, call the horn, Nisho list. Johot out a yard, they not need Tindo, Ado in the day, the Nachin Huit Ashto. I need Abbetville, I need Anant, a conde. That hot in the decon Johnny Broadband Bahwind. Could that Aggie? Quiet the never key and hustle of a car in Jonigo had at the Liago Benache. Especially cheap and Nache. Beyond he could on his or be the neat $8. And he so could all been his $1,000. The Nachin his $1,000. Ado in the Nagay cargo criminology department. He has legal, he Italiago. Arch days, Nishigijo A. Hot Habanas, Lato, Con on this cardo, he take that days either get a days E analysis, Hat Nenigi, analyze daily. Con budget the wheat Atoba at the horn Nishigi. It on he thought he has Leo, she called she in the end on he. Bake it neat eat all this. A DG the A. Connect hold a conde. The way Washington, they patch on and get a initially egg what our yak neat e out of the Hatahuis so they start out at New Mexico or Arizona or Utah. What else the intelligence centers the hollow. Age to add it by neatly. She'll del Tito, but she'll del so ADG the hot ahoy Jessica. She only the way this cargo. Need the intelligence hitch in Daggy. She a yard the way the never nahas or to go down. Let's get a day see Nij. Could they? Pride the never nahas of Pijiki. A need a yarn away that making the Nahal day larger, not only Lenigi president. A Kodo Nihil Nihiden. Hat Elda Yanaha Ago. A kiddo nature Yashtiva. Joe Hot I thought that you been can dog Ado Eko no Yashti give it that or other able now will net. Joe that Aggie Ado I show a yard be car nature of Kina Ilka. Adi Koja has Angi by Yanshti that ended to Hot Echo. I show she bakes not a hotel on the Nagay Yitis cargo. I show a kitten not a seat, the machine so I show about another wheel net about that. Of course, she has not die.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Henderson, for your response there. And definitely we need to have a separate conversation relating to the security and what is going on pertaining to security, whether it's at the tribal government level or even down to the Navajo citizen, some of these strategy. And I think that's correct. That it's going to take a session that's going to just take, a while, maybe like a half a day to shed light to this. And I agree to that. I'm glad that maybe Mr. Henderson, you could allow to start putting something together related to that security issue. And since criminal investigation is overseeing a lot of that, and maybe communicate with your division director to put some sort of presentation together for committee and the whole leadership, so that we understand and what's going on pertaining to a lot of these things. With that, committee members, any other questions for Mr. Henderson?
Vice Chair, I do have a question.
Madam Chair, you have the floor.
Yeah, Vice Chair, auto colleagues,
So Mr. Henderson, for the presentation today, what I want to know is right now the criminal investigations is facing a shortfall. And I know that they, there's a lot of concerns regarding the budget. There is a shortfall with the budget that I didn't hear you talk about. So what I want to know is what amount are you looking at with the shortfall for criminal investigations? How much money is needed to address this shortfall? And what can this committee do to assist you? So I'm hoping that you have that number and those budget forms with you today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair. Mr. Henderson, you have the floor.
Miss Charles Newton. Dida ni yad ba ogi. Ida ni yad sato benke na hot ida ni. Ako the enel tagi to shitato snelak ad a condition to shin jo dishli quantity large yal patab ogi jo edi nakhandal nishigi jendo liasigi to do chon onanish ado sabit a hil kije na kidamo biga ha jen ilia e la hondalnish na din hil kidila hondalnish ayos khali da o ali mo hianel bigi ado tahdiyena tilda ha ahobi ijedelnish ako he ilkedi ilaho jindalnish ebebjindal yasligi ilaho hin kido bebjindal yasligi jo esto ajibednitla ako ado di additionally ni khana nishigi sa benahido nes sa la gonana dolis they need nishigi jo aje to peso bana itli dolis yad lenigi tan tsugoshi bo onanitla ado di kana ni benache benina be achani pasto lesigi did ni chito ni zebta the days bado lesigi in the ta lachish ado in the ta be na the nil zoto lesigi ado in the ta page ni page it ido lesigi jo that agi lago banda easily lago banda ileho jo aje to hashin sugo ben hibena annashigo yal da bo ben na hidil hegi da bo ani huda hegi jo hi gitzago enal sos beneja to ya shita to snel kat nel tagi ben jo hadish aligi akonde hota u ani jo ya ani di nasni bihi khagi ben nasigo da yad ayego do chon at ido do chon tza aje ko hada yad na sos beneja u konde additionally ado status in lo so jobbing condition higido to shabone tza the condition jo dishli ko sha.
Thank you very much, Mr. Henderson, for your response. Before I go back to the floor, what I would recommend is that addressing the shortfall and how much is needed, and if you could let us know when you have that document ready, email us, and I think we can entertain a leadership meeting to just to that issue alone. That way we can have a dialogue relating to just the shortfall and strategize on other alternatives to seek funding, additional funding sources, or is there an alternative to restructure some existing fundings that are internally to cover those costs with 638? Because you have what's hurting you is the overtime pay and the holiday pay, and I believe how we need to strategize on that, and how Madam Chair is indicated that how can the committee help, and that's where we could provide our insight just pertaining to the shortfall, and I believe that will have that communication there between the criminal investigation and the committee. And I just want you to make sure that you are funding for your program on that, because if it turns out to be a overall, we really need to know what the shortfall number is, and I would rather have a meeting directly with CI and with the committee to see how we could address this in a leadership meeting format, so that we can address this and strategize on that, so that we could try to see what all other alternatives we could do. So I'm just gonna just do a leadership meeting propose that you're gonna have to do your portion of your from your side to get all documents ready. What is the number? And I guess then and there we'll talk about whether we're gonna seek UEFB or reshuffling some of the $638. The other is that $638 that were utilized from previous years. We need an update on that too, on how much monies are there, and could we possibly utilize the unspent previous year $638 for this purpose? I'm just going to propose that, and but again, the committee members, Mr. Michael Henderson indicated that he doesn't have the costs with him on hand now, but we'll propose a leadership meeting in the future once Mr. Henderson gets all of their information together, and that's when we can have the conversation pertaining only to criminal investigation. We won't add in any other programs on it. We'll just deal with the criminal investigation. We deal with that. With that, committee members,
Vice Chair.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, I should say Vice Chair. So really quickly, one of the things that I would like to hear, as this committee is well aware, we hear one report coming from Window Rock, but we do hear separate reports coming from those boots on the ground. What I would like to propose is that we meet with I believe there are 6 captains or supervisors within each district to find out what their needs are, and then to also hear their concerns with the work that they are doing regarding the deaths that are occurring on the Navajo Nation. I know at one time when Dale West was the acting director, we went to Washington, D.C., and he did talk about the work that criminal investigators are doing with having to sign off on death certificates, and how that is in some ways could be a conflict. And with the COVID, that obviously continues to happen, but at the same time, we need to have a full understanding of what the criminal investigators are facing right now. And I would like to request that we get these reports directly from the supervisors to Law and Order Committee, and that it be done in executive session. if we could start working towards getting that done so we have a full picture of the budget concerns, and then also the concerns with the conflicts of having to sign off on death certificates. Vice Chair, I would like to make that request, and that we'd also have this done before the budget is presented. I believe we were supposed to have a special counsel to talk about the budget concerns. And what was very frustrating for me is the office of the president is playing politics, and they are not submitting the budget forms that are needed. So basically, if they don't want your department to get money, they don't sign off on those budget forms, which is what ultimately happened during council. As many of as all of us delegates know, that was the issue. Those budget forms were not submitted to the speaker's office, and so I just worry that we really need to hear from the criminal investigators, and as I stated before on the record, and as also Dale West also stated in Washington, D.C., they are the ugly, red-headed stepchild there. And so we need to do everything that we can to assist them and to let them know that we are working to address their budget concerns, because I believe, looking at the budget a couple of weeks ago, I believe they had an unmet needs request for over $1 million. And when the budget was being presented, we had waited to have the right signatures sign off on those budget forms, but it didn't happen in time for us to include it within the budget. So again, it falls back on the executive branch, and it begs to question whether they really want that department to get the funding that they need. And right now, I have yet to hear anything from Mr. Henderson. I know that when Dale West was leading the criminal investigations department, we were receiving emails with budgetary concerns. We also were getting very thorough reports. Since Mr. Henderson has taken that position, we have yet to get a thorough report, nor have I heard directly from him advocating for criminal investigations. So I think it leaves this committee to be fair and ask the supervisors and the captains what exactly their district's needs are, and how we can assist them with the budget, since it's not happening on the executive side. So I would like to make that request that we go into executive session at that time when we listen to the supervisors and to the captains for each district. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Laureen, let's have established this communication with Mr. Mr. Henderson's office pertaining to this meeting for this report to be brought in. I believe we can make this it would have to be a special meeting requesting and it'd be to have an executive session, and with that have that communication and communicate with Mr. Henderson's office, criminal investigation, relating to the when they will have the budget shortfall information all together. Then the conflicts that they're having with signing off on death certificates and their program. And then the other is that with that, a report to the committee from all of the seven districts of the district managers out there, to make a report to the committee. And I believe we could do that in a special meeting setting with with an executive session highlighted on the agenda. That will be my way to go relating to this matter. Uh, and then that will address the concerns that Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton has pertaining to the insights of and the need to address the need of criminal investigation at the budget shortfall level, and then the other is a conflicting duty, the conflicts that are happening inside the criminal investigation and pertaining to the signing off death certificates, and then the other is that the need out there at local level out. What are these? I'm not too sure if they're captains or if they're sergeants, but to have each of the captain or sergeant of that leading police district to report from criminal investigation to report to the committee on their um, on the agency operation and their needs and what issues they're having at the local level. Thank you. Um, Lorraine, did you get that?
Yes, I did, Vice Chair. Thank you.
And then with that, I guess we could go ahead and continue getting information on there to so that we can have the correct information and what Madam Chair wanted to request. And other thing too is committee members at this it'll be a special meeting, and in this executive session also gearing towards criminal investigation, that program. If you have any other concerns that need to be discussed in executive session, please reach out to Laureen to go ahead and add those concerns onto the agenda so that we could send some over to say this is what you're gonna, Mr. Henderson, this is what you're gonna present to the committee. Okay, they can get ready for us, and I believe Madam Chair spoke about the amendment to the comprehensive budget that's going through right now, and that timeline. And we'll go ahead and try to shoot and try to get this meeting together as soon as we can. Once we get the information drafted to them, we'll draft it or put together. We'll send it over and we'll set a date for that. Is that okay, Mr. Henderson?
Oh, John Chidole.
Uncle Shane, and there we'll go ahead and we'll have that conversation there. The other is that I guess Madam Chair requests that the 6 district or 7 district captains for criminal investigation, they will be they will be present to make a report of their agency or the district that they oversee overall. And I guess data would be very, very important because each of us committee members represent an agency. And, what are the that information is very, very important because if there's any little things that I forgot, maybe Mr. Henderson, something that you could respond to. I'm going to go ahead and
Oh, yeah, Kated, oh, you're done. Oh, you are the Hajo, what is not Hadila Kated.
Oh, yes, I said if there was anything that I forgot, And if you have a response to Madam Chair's question, go ahead and make that response at this time. Thank you.
Oh, a question hot edo this ojo the supervisors and Blinigi Malay la hata huisago pada inishigi Asian ani quite a satitli to Ashin Pehajo Yankee to the hotel Asti quite had Ashin a yard death certificates back Saholonigi to Koja 638 Bade needs Nishigi. Quite Hashint Ashi then Tato Hashint on the Hint target Ashin Pehajo Yankee to Ado a Benaching John Hispana Hutsundo Benachajon. Joshin Janada Hutit, Ato Jon Nada Hutit Ashiko. Ashin Nikodon Nisho. Koshi had on Sogoshi, Kodop Sadana Nish Ado. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Henderson, for your report and your answers. With that, committee members, is there any other questions that need to pose to Mr. Henderson? Go once, twice, 3 times. With that, Sherelle, go ahead and call for a roll call.
Okay, Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton, how do you vote?
Charles Newton votes red.
Honorable Charles Newton votes red. Honorable Vince James.
Delegate James votes red.
Honorable Vince James votes red. Honorable Eugene So. Honorable Eugene So. Honorable Edmund Yazi. Honorable Eugene So. Honorable Edmund Yazi. Vice Chair, you have 2 in favor, 0, you have 0 in favor, 2 opposed, 3 not voting, which is the Vice Chair not voting, Edmund Yazi absent, and Eugene So not voting.
Hey, thank you very much. For your report, Mr. Henderson, motion carries. And our voting tally is 0 in favor, 2 opposed, and chair not voting. With that, Mr. Henderson, thank you for your presentation. And we will be looking at that special meeting. Once everything is put together, information, we will go ahead and schedule that. And we will reach out to you on that day to have that special meeting pertaining to criminal investigations. Yeah, thank you very much. You are excused, Mr. Henderson. With that, item C on the agenda, Office of Legislative Counsel on the status of Title 17. Office of Legislative Counsel, are you on the line?
Good morning, Honorable Otto So, Interim Chair, Madam Chair, Charles Newton, and all members of the Law and Order Committee and visitors. This is Mr. Cook with Office of Legislative Counsel.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Cook, you're on the line, and we have 20 minutes to this report, and the floor is yours. It's 12:04 right now. Thank you very much, Mr. Cook. Give us an update on the Title 17 revision. Thank you.
Okay, I'm having some technical difficulties with my phone, but I'm going to do the best I can here. As far as the Title 17 reform goes, I just wanted to provide the information that I've been involved in since I've been with this office as of last September of 2020. I was able to do some research and dialogue with several parties relating to the Department of Justice and former prosecutors. One was Jennifer Henry, as you may all be aware, she's no longer with the prosecutor's office. But I have been in some dialogue with her prior to her departure. And back about November of last year, I received a document from her which is considered a working document at this time. Now, just from looking at the documents in hand, it's considered amendments dated from 2019. So obviously we're in 2021 right now. This information that I'll provide probably generates back as far as what has been going on prior to 2019, at least 4 to 5 years. So there was some extensive work also done on this. I also dialogued with Jesse Delmar as the executive director in October when the issue of the bootlegging kept coming up at the LOC meetings as to sentencing and whatnot. So thus far, though, what I think I am going to afford you at this point in time is I have a document which is comprised of 106 pages. And from my review of it, from a legal standpoint, it looks pretty forthright to where it's titled an action relating to law and order, Nabi Navajo Nation Council, and it's titled as the Naye Medkanik, or quote marks, Monster Slayer Act. So it's my impression at that point in time when this document was being generated, it was for the benefit of amending the existing Title 17 to include new language and even discussing certain other areas of the statute. As we know that some of the statutes had already been amended back in 2000, and I believe it was 15 with the Family Violence Act and adding some other items in there. But as we go through this, it talks about the findings of what's been going on within the Navajo Nation, and talks about giving some statistics. But what I want to get to regarding the actual revisions of Title 17, it does signify that there should be 4 key players involved, or 4 rationales of thought involved, going as far as Mitakies Auto Nahak Ina Ihalten, of course meaning thinking, planning, living, and evaluation. So it also shows that there was some meetings titled as the Public Safety Summits that were conducted, and they had reached a consensus of providing and coming to some conclusions on
Sure, I can't hear it.
So as far as the Title 17 goes in itself, when I looked at this, and I'm pretty sure others that were involved with this can agree, but it pretty much amends everything from starting off with Title 17, Section 209, which is usually at the first and foremost part of the code. So you talk about the definitions, and I'm seeing right now that a lot of the definitions have already been amended because they're already underscored, and there's a lot of additions to some of the definitions which aren't in the existing code. There's also some amendments to the language that is in the existing code, which would also be precedent if we also get back to the drawing board and then continue on with this document. So the definitions are in there, and then we go on, of course, to looking at some of the statutes in itself, where it talks about amending some of the codes to where it would incorporate a lot of different language to hopefully encompass if violators or perpetrators committed certain offenses, that obviously the arm of criminal justice is to try to hold people accountable for their actions. So there's a lot of language that's been amended also into the document. we talked about, one of the things that did come up, I did have a brief discussion with a prosecutor this morning, and I was trying to make sure that we were all on the same page with talking about sentencing, because I know within the LSU meetings, there's been delegates platforms to hopefully hold individuals accountable for particularly in the area of bullying. So when you look at the sentencing structure within the guidelines, it looks like the sentencing is already in there to accommodate some of the issues for individuals who do violate labeling. But I also wanted to just share that from looking at some of the current codes, when you look at Title 17, Section 220, it talks about under subchapter 3, sentencing, letter A, no person convicted of an offense pursuant to this title shall be sentenced otherwise than in accordance with this subchapter. And again, remember, this is the existing law. The sentence of incarceration is always considered an extraordinary measure under any offense enumerated in this title and should be imposed only as a last alternative for a defendant is found to have caused serious injury to a victim or victims or other serious circumstances warrant jail sentence. All jail sentences must be supported by a written statement by the court of reasons for imposition of a sentence. So when you look at that language, it sounds as though that incarceration is generally going to be the last resort, as obviously within the court, Navajo Nation court system practice tradition, customs, and values as well, in addition to Western law. You know, how does this all play out when it comes to sentencing? So when you look at each individual specific offense, as well as the actions of the offender, you look at things like was it reckless, was it unfair, was it slowing, the sentencing.
Troy, hold on. Mr. Henley, go ahead and kick off people that are not muting their phones. Just kick them off. We'll know who when they call back in. We'll know who they are. And also call out their phone number. It's the only way. Mute your phone. Please mute your phone. Mr. Cook, continue. Thank you. Mr. Cook, you have the floor. Continue with your report.
Vice Chair, this is Donovan.
Donovan, go ahead.
To unmute is going to be *6.
Okay. Or to unmute is *6. People online, presenters. Thank you. Mr. Cook. I think we may have some technical difficulty with Mr. Cook. I'm gonna go back through the call here. I don't see his, I think we lost him. He's disconnected. And Dana, are you on the line? *6.
Yes, I am on the line. I was trying to stealthily listen to Mr. Cook. I don't know what's happened to him. And I know I don't want to take over his reports, but essentially I could sum it up is that
the prior administration worked on amendments to Title 17, which had been presented to them by prior administration. I mean, during the Begay administration and Ethel Branch's administration at DOJ. That there was a group at DOJ that included the Chief Prosecutor, Jen Henry. They were working on the amendments. Those amendments did not get passed by council. When Ms. Paul and the new administration came back in, the AG and the Chief Prosecutor were not pleased with the group that was working on those amendments because the attorneys assigned were all civil attorneys, with the exception of the Chief Prosecutor. So the AG requested that Office of Legislative Counsel take over working on those amendments. We had just started really to start to go through them. They're pretty comprehensive. But as the chair and the Law and Order Committee had said, they were didn't feel they were comprehensive enough. So we had to started to go through them with Ms. Henry, at least prepare her to go through them with us, and then she resigned. And I have not really touched base with Mr. Cook as to where he is at, whether he has had an opportunity to meet with the acting Chief Prosecutor or not. So that is all the information that I know at this point in time. I am trying to reach out to Mr. Cook and see if he can get back on the line. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe we lost Mr. Cook. He did say he had some technical difficulty with his phone earlier before his report, so I'm assuming that that's what it's going to. With that, thank you for summing up Mr. Cook's report pertaining to the to Title 17. With that, I'm going to go back to Mr. Cook. Are you on the line? Go once, twice, 3 times. Okay, since OLS director has summed it up. With that, I'm going to go ahead and call for a motion. Committee members.
Motion by Charles Newton.
Motion by Honorable Madam Chair, and second by Eugene So. With that, committee members, do you have any questions for the presenter? Go once.
This is Delegate Charles Newton.
Madam Chair, you have the floor.
Thank you. I should say Vice Chair, audit colleagues. I don't know if if the presenter, Mr. Cook, is back on the line, but I know that we did start working on the amendments made to Title 17. We also had a rough draft sent over to us. It was almost a year ago, I believe, from Ms. Henry, what was, I guess, discussed and the portions that were completed. I know that one of the big issues right now that this committee has been tasked with is the question regarding the bootleggers and also alcohol on the reservation. The committee did have a meeting and we did talk about the options for providing rehabilitative services to those who are arrested or who are charged with alcohol-related crimes. As was stated during that meeting by Brandon Bitsui, who is the acting chief prosecutor, 90% of the cases that the Office of the Prosecutor is currently addressing are alcohol-related. 90% are alcohol-related. And so we all agreed, this committee, that jail is probably not the best way to address that concern. And so right now, my understanding is Title 17 is pretty much ready to go. The updates made to Title 17. We are trying to work through just the minor, I guess, the issues that were brought forward. But I think the bottom line is that we, regardless of what we present, there's going to be concerns. There's going to be people who are not going to be happy with those amendments. But we have been doing our due diligence as a committee. We have heard directly from the police department. We have heard directly from the prosecutor's office. We have heard directly from the people. Where we have not heard is the public defender's office. And so I think part of that due diligence is going to require us to hear the concerns coming from the public defender's office. I did attend a conference where I did have a couple of the public defenders who did come to me and state that the laws are too stringent right now. But I think that they are stringent in the sense that we are not offering any type of rehabilitative services, nor are we offering any of the services that some of our people need. So I think what we need to do is we do need to hear from the public defender's office before the Title 17 amendment can be presented to this committee and have it go forward to Nabi Resolution and then also to full council. So I think, again, I would like to request that we do hear directly from the public defenders regarding the project. My understanding is that Title 17, we did hire consultants to assist. That was when Gertrude Lee was the prosecutor for the Navajo Nation. And I, at that time, I was a prosecutor, so I was kind of involved in those conversations. But I think as a matter of due diligence, we will need to hear from the public defender's office so that we can proceed forward and say that we did hear all of the concerns, not only from prosecutor's office and police and criminal investigators, but also from public defender's office as well. So with that, Vice Chair, I'd like to ask that we schedule a report from the public defender's office regarding Title 17 and the issues that they're facing. In addition to also, I think we also need to get an update on whether they received their requested amount from last year. I know that there was a presentation given to us that it was granted their unmet needs. I believe it was back in 2019, but it was a question of whether they actually received it or not. So I think it would also be an opportune time for us to hear that report as well. So with that, Vice Chair, that is my request at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Before I turn the floor over to OLS, the request, Madam, correction, Lee, there's a report from Public Defender's Office for the next committee meeting relating to, well, a report of the office overall. And then the other is a reporting on their recommendation on amendment to Title 17. Also, funding, report on funding issues and unmet needs. I believe there's 3 there. Is there one more, Madam Chair?
I think there was only 2, so it was just to get their take on the Title 17 amendments and the work that was done by the consultants and where we currently are at. And then the second one was to ask whether they actually did receive their unmet needs, which I believe the committee did vote in favor for. Thank you, Shakay.
Thank you very much. Lorraine, did you get that?
Yes, I did, Vice Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and get them on to the next committee meeting and provide that report to the committee pertaining to that. With that, I guess, Dana, there's some questions that Ms. Honorable Chair Newton had. Can you elaborate on some of those answers?
Thank you. I'm not sure if Troy is back on or not. I hope he is. But as I understand it, we have not received those additional amendments that Chairwoman was talking about. I don't believe we've received them. So certainly I will have Troy follow up with the prosecutor's office and LOC's legislative advisor and others. And thank you for the information.
Okay, thank you very much, Dana, for that information. And we have to probably move forth on the Title 17 amendments. And since it's handed back off to the Office of Legislative Counsel, let's go ahead and move forward with the amendment and try to get this legislation moving, because there's time on it. It's just parked in the parking lot there, so we need to take it off the shelf and get it through and see what we have on there. The other is that Dana, if you can, Honorable Nelson Begay had a bootlegging legislation. If you can, I believe that failed. If you can, email me a copy of that legislation so that I could sort of start glancing through that also. So yeah, that's just a request. Again, committee members.
Vice Chair?
Madam Chair, go ahead.
Vice Chair, I think it would be great if we all could get a copy of that. I know you did talk about that at one time regarding that fail legislation, but I think that should be something. If you would like to sponsor a new legislation regarding that issue, Vice Chair, I think it would be nice if we could get the support of the committee members. So if we could get that, so thank you.
This is Dana, let me just add that we do already have a legislation request for bootlegging. It's, we already have one. I don't like to, as you know, share. It's attorney-client who privilege when you request the legislation, but we do already have a request for it for bootlegging, and I do believe that Mr. Cook is working on completing that request. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Looks like someone may have dropped one, but just go ahead and get that information to us so that we could on what Nelson Begay has dropped or that failed legislation, and email it out to the committee members so we could set time aside to look at that also, so that whenever any amendments come up pertaining to that, we can go ahead and refer to that and see what was there, cross-reference. That's all. Again, thank you very much, Dana. With that, committee members, any more questions for Office of Legislative Counsel? Go once, going twice, going three times. With that, Sherelle, go ahead and continue with the roll call vote.
Okay, Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton, how do you vote?
Charles Newton votes green.
Charles Newton, Honorable Charles Newton votes green. Honorable Vince James, how do you vote?
Delegate James votes green. Thank you.
Honorable James votes green. Honorable Eugene So, how do you vote?
Green. Oh, thank you.
Honorable So votes green. Honorable Edmund Yazi, how do you vote? Honorable Edmund Yazi, how do you vote? Vice Chair, you have 3 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 not voting, which is Vice Chair not voting, and 1 absent, Honorable Edmund Yazzie.
Thank you very much. Terrell for taking roll call vote. Motion carries. 3 in favor, 0 opposed. You're not voting. With that, go on to the next item on the agenda. Report from Judicial Branch in regards to paying process servers. Were they paid? So with that, item D on the agenda, Judicial Branch, who is providing that report relating to the process servers?
Good afternoon, Shanant. This is Raquel Chi. I'll be providing the report.
Okay, thank you very much, Raquel. Right now, you have the floor. It's 12:32. You have 20 minutes. So the floor is yours. Take it away.
Biga. Yat do aheha Shanant. Do yat naltun adet da isinalt aigi. Aro con law and order committee members con aheha con khatahol aro staff and aro criminal justice partners I thought she that EC aro con process servers a ben hit na hadid na ein hit dot need aheha a con khatahol aro co-process servers a they fall yeah da a chidesil eid ado which then a contract auto the November, I think November 18, 19, 20 deadline. Yeah, auto they didn't make those deadlines auto contracts das late the nalsos. Ako enha nande contracts iki CARES Act beso e do ba hot e go na e odd districts de yindal nishigi the court administrators dan linigi a beson de zogo savings in their budgets in de zogo inda they were able to do a budget transfer ko e dat na kit trat the mo dat is le e yindal nisho aro nal sos e le OMB go a kon najja for the districts ado at OMB yindal nisho 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 na kide trat the mo dat is link go inda budget transfers yeah adalia ado e bekedo e contracts done lina a le OOC gone we took them back over there do that's about 3 that's the more that is late for some of those contracts last Friday in the nisha dot shanan dija ako nahast a ko Nashja Chief Justice a Wednesday got on the Nataho Bedahni Ja Ado a Bijit ile Yaka at a contracts nine of them a Nast a ko Bijit the Ja Ado Ashla a at the budget transfer but sinil 5 contracts one of the districts last week in the budget transfer savings in the as she has linked go in the budget transfer and also sa tayi lago le OMB go atayi la ako a ashla contracts a bapato le a budget transfer it's one el yago a contracts and the OOC go in doji Ado they will do the review. Adon Handon Daho Ado Chief Justice a Bijit Bakai Dolil. Okay, that's the report. Abalaganic Echigo A. We've waited some time for the budget transfer, some savings to be identified in the district court. Ado a best identify it Yago. We did the budget transfers and at each stop it took some time. So I'm real happy to report that Friday we received the packets back. Well, Thursday, I believe we received the packets back from Office of the Controller. Although we've got them packaged up and ready now for Chief Justice. Chief Justice is out of the office until Wednesday. So Wednesday, it'll be put on her desk for signature. Biketo, they'll go back to OOC again, aro contract number she, then we can submit the payment requests for them. So by this Thursday, the packets will be back at Office of the Controller. Friday, at the latest. Next week, once we get the contract numbers from contract administration, the payment requests, she will put those forward to OOC for the payments for all those contracts. That's the update that I have on the process servers, on the contracts that we have in place for services that were provided by them prior to the CARES Act deadline that was implemented in November. Naadi Kidogi, I can answer some of those.
Thank you very much, Raquel Chief, for your report relating to, for the judicial branch, relating to the process servers, if they were paid. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and call for motion.
Eugene So.
Motion by Eugene, Honorable Eugene So. Second motion.
Second by Charles Newton.
Okay, second by Junior Charles Newton. With that, committee members, do you have any questions for Raquel? Okay.
I do have a question, Vice Chair.
All righty, Honorable Madam Chair, you have the floor.
Yeah, I should say just really quickly. So when will the process servers be paid? That's my first question. I want a date. Second is I want to know, will they be paid for all the work that they did, meaning all the back pay, or is it going to be done in portions? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Raquel, Chi, can you go ahead and provide an answer?
Oh, this is Raquel again. The payments will be, everything will be paid for the process servers from when they first began providing the service all the way through November. It's going to be the payment requests are going to be for one payment for all the services that they did. Next week, if it goes back to contract administration, it takes a while. And one contract we saw took 2-3 weeks. So hopefully we can move it sooner. And I'm hoping that by the end of, maybe by March 12th, that the payments will be through and processed. It'll take a week or two over at contract administration. On our side, we'll submit the payment document then to OOC, and then they'll process that again. So I would probably say another week for the payment document to be processed. So I'm hoping by March 12th, they'll be able to get a payment out. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer there. Madam Chair, you have any follow-up? Okay, committee members, any other questions?
Vice Chair, I'm sorry, I was on mute. I guess, but I do have a follow-up if you'll allow me, Vice Chair.
Yes, you have the floor, Madam Chair.
Yeah. I just want to say that I am just really disappointed that we have not paid our process servers for 3 months. I don't know anybody else who can take that type of hit financially, especially during during the holidays. many of these process servers have reached out and have provided their concerns, which was emailed to the Chief Justice. There was no response provided on the issue, nor was there a timeline provided on how or when these process servers were going to be paid. What really is upsetting for me is we have many of our supervisors and directors who get paid on a timely basis every 2 weeks. But we have the people who are on the boots on the ground who are being told that their pay is going to be coming. Many of the process servers worked through the pandemic, and they were providing service to the Navajo Nation by providing these documents that were needed for court. So it is a little bit frustrating that we are now pushing this back into March. If we could do it, sooner, I think that that's probably the best thing to do. And I believe Honorable Otto So at one point did say, we should hold off on paying the Chief Justice and the judges their pay, because we don't have our process servers being paid. So if the process servers are not paid by March, I don't know if this committee can make that recommendation to do that, to give them an understanding of what our process servers are going through. But to not have pay for 3 months, I think can hurt anybody's pocketbook. So if we can start moving quickly on getting them paid and then getting them paid what they serve. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for your comment there and relating to the process servers. And I do echo those same things, that those same thoughts that is there, and what you spoke about relating to why these individuals are not paid. And I believe yes, they process the documents through as a contract. We know that there's timelines to it, but these contracts should have been processed all and like I said, the upper management got their pay, but these individuals that provided these services they haven't been paid yet. I'm not too sure what type of other legal issues that could that could happen if they're not paid. The protection of the nation is something that is something that I look at, and especially the work done before a contract had been issued. And as the judicial branch, they shouldn't have honored they do this work without a contract in place. And what type of legal issue, obligations or legal concerns does that have for the nation? Those are just my thoughts of that. And thank you very much for your comment, Madam Chair, for your I know Raquel, you are a staff member of the Navajo Nation Judicial Branch. You're probably just a paper pusher. I wish the management, again, Judicial Branch management should have been on the call, whether it's the city or Justice herself. But these people need to be paid. They have families. They have needs. And put yourself in their position. If you were not paid, I guarantee you they would be knocking on our door and say, I haven't get a paycheck yet. So I think these are things that we should evaluate on performances overall. And we know that who manages the judicial branch, we need to put these things into his performances, because it's really sad to see that it's going on in the judicial branch. Yeah. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I didn't hear any questions in your statement there, so I'm going to go ahead and move forth. Committee members, any other questions? Honorable Jean So or Mr. James? With that, there's no other question from committee members. Before I call for the question, Raquel, thank you very much for coming forward to provide this report, and let's try to see if paperwork could be pushed down the line so that these individuals can get paid, because they are reaching out to us. Again, thank you very much. Ms. Nota, go ahead and move forth with roll call vote.
Okay, Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton, how do you vote?
Charles Newton votes red.
Honorable Charles Newton votes red. Honorable Vince James, how do you vote? Honorable Eugene So, how do you vote?
Vote is overshared. Thank you.
Honorable So votes green. Honorable Edmund Yazzie, how do you vote? Honorable Vince James, how do you vote?
Delegate James votes green.
Honorable James votes green. Vice Chair, you have 2 in favor, 1 opposed, and 2 not voting, which is the Vice Chair not voting and Honorable Edmund Yazzie absent.
Okay, thank you very much, Sherelle, for roll call vote. Motion carries 2 in favor, 1 opposed, and voting. With that, committee members, we are done with our report. Again, thank you very much, Ms. Chief, for your report to the committee. With that, we're going to go on to item number 6 on the agenda. Old business, there's none. With that, next item on the agenda, number 7, new business. A, legislation number 0011-21, and we do have the sponsor on the call. And Madam Chair, with that, Maureen, can you go ahead and read the legislation heading into the record?
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Lorraine.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay, can you hear me? Hello?
Lorraine, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, because it had R6 on there, so. Tracking number 011-21, an act relating to Budget and Finance Committee, Law and Order Committee, and Nabi Committee, and Navajo Nation Council, establishing the Navajo Nation Hashkeja Nahata, the base of Bahalan, by amending Title 12 of the Navajo Nation Code, directing that the award received through Navajo Nation versus Department of Interior number 14-CB-1909 TSC be deposited in the Hashkeja Nahata, the base of Bahalan, after reimbursement of the litigation costs, directing that the proceeds from future litigation related to the judicial branches, PL 93638 contracts, or annual funding agreements be deposited in the Hashkeja Nahata, the base of Bahalan, establishing that the fixed cost litigation account shall be reimbursed for litigation costs. The attached are the court documents, which is Exhibit A, and Exhibit B is a memorandum to Dana Barbara from Attorney General Doreen McCall, and this is in regards to the documents. It should be kept confidential. And Exhibit C is the same memorandum. And there is 5-day process. And there is only one comment, which was received from Perlin Kirk, Controller, Office of the Controller, on January 28, 2021. And this has gone before Budget Finance Committee, and it was passed by the Budget Finance Committee. The report is attached. Vice Chair.
Hey, thank you very much for reading the legislation into the record. With that, I'm going to go ahead and call for a motion.
Motion by Charles Newton.
Motion by Madam Chair. And going to call for a seconded motion. Committee members, going to call for a second motion.
Eugene So.
Second motion made by Honorable Eugene So. With that, Madam Chair, you have provided a report to the committee before. You understand the timeline, and can turn the floor over to you for your presentation of the legislation and your agents. Thank you very much. You have the floor, Madam Chair.
I should say, Otto, thank you, Honorable Eugene So, for the second. This legislation did come before Budget and Finance. It is now here at Law and Order Committee. The purpose of this legislation is to allow for the funding that was awarded to the judicial branch. It is, again, the purpose, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. The purpose is to give the settlement money that was given to the Navajo Nation, to give that money to judicial branch to help address the shortfalls that the judicial branch is currently experiencing, and also the issues that originally, I guess, is the foundational issue that was brought to light with BIA. There is a history of the litigation that's provided in the legislation that does give some information about what happened. But in a nutshell, the judicial branch was not getting the full funding from the BIA to be able to address the cases here on the Navajo Nation. So they did move to litigate the issue with BIA, and the BIA eventually did a settlement. This settlement is just a portion of a settlement because the issue has not been fully addressed. What we are asking is that this funding be given to the judicial branch to help them with their shortfalls, obviously, but to also give them the opportunity to address the needs that they have presented to this committee and to council. Right now, the way that it's set up is the money is going to go to the Navajo Nation, which goes into, I believe it's the UUSB. But this legislation instead is going to give it to the judicial branch and then also help assist to pay for the litigation costs. And it's creating kind of a separate pot of money that will allow judicial branch to decide how that money will be spent. Again, this did go through Budget and Finance, and it is here before the committee. I have 3 agents who are on the line. I have with me today Raquel Chi and also Karen Francis from the judicial branch, who will provide a little bit more information on the needs and also the concerns coming out of the judicial branch. And I also have Madam A.D. Doreen McPaul, who can talk a little bit about the litigation part of the legislation that requires the bill to be paid directly out of these fundings. So with that, Chair, I'd like to turn the floor over to the judicial branch at this time. Raquel?
Ms. Chi, you have the floor. We can hear you.
Okay, hagoshi. Ja, it's nana. Ado ajo adehuisinda. Ja, it's shenant I'm Raquel Chi. Ado na inshinige e tratne zahninshne. Ketlichitni e bashichin. Ma idesh gijni idesh che dot nanisht ajit in e dashanana kot I is sanado a manchle. Ado shenanishigi e shinigi e grants administrator einshne. Hashkejin hat I aja shenanish not it. Ado di kon hunten hitol adigi dije a kon legislation a bahwind legislation 011-21. Ado a we're asking for your support in habikit and dano kati in legislation bin ye date inigi a kon hashkejin hat up beso baho lando lel a bin ye date ado di so nachher ja dat e bin dashilnish aye go min dashilnish go the qui districts at tabadot need the qui AIEC the qui bes o AIEC bahalati konanish adal enigi do ha ishe ba otanot zen at hinta dit so dit di nedla bin nish that it need hatot need ida at the time Chief Justice Herb Yazi in hinat ani et ego a nego bedadel nish do there was a special projects director at the time a Teresa Hopkins will yego ayego bin dashil nish akodi in the hast egit o ahayu lay district courts the whether it's personnel, whether it's decon atsintlish that the tligi or Howanda Howanda's anigi. Some of them are in need of repair. Auto this last year we've been battling and fighting and mitigating this virus and ADA. Those needs, I think, are needs that we have to consider now going forward as well. So these needs that we have identified, these are needs that our districts have. This is what it takes to run the court system, to provide the services that we're statutorily required to provide. That was the figure that we sent back to the BIA, letting them know that their annual allocation isn't enough to provide the statutory services that we're required to provide. So at that time, we presented them with a different amount of how much it truly costs to run our judicial branch. Auto a NOSCO, there's NOSCO, the paperwork, the case, it kept moving forward, and so now we finally are at a point where we have a settlement. Ako a bin dahwit agodo by yadel tio a con legislation ilya. After some careful consideration, thoughtful planning, speaking with others within our branch, Chief Justice, Associate Justice, peacemaking that ego. We spoke with everyone about the best way to proceed with the settlement that was going to be coming. To be able to comprehensively address all our needs with some of these settlement dollars, the plan is to create a hashkejin hat abeso bahowan, where the fund will be held. Ado and not Ani Chief Justice in consultation with the branch, we'll be able to develop an expenditure plan that can be forwarded and presented to the Law and Order Committee and others for approval. So that is what we seek today in this legislation. Ado peacemaking ito aye go yinash ko I'm not sure if Miss Elaine or Mr. Roman Bitsui are on the line. That's itahnanate shab dibike ado naade kirhalong go I can answer some more questions, but just a little bit about the branch itself. We have, I think our last census was about 230 staff throughout all the districts that we have, from Tuba City all the way clear across to Tuajale, Alamo. And we also have probation services, and the peacemaking program. Those are all also housed under the judicial branch. We are headed by the Supreme Court that is located here in Window Rock. So I appreciate any support, and I'm here to answer any questions about the direction of this fund and this legislation, and I can elaborate more about the needs that we have out in the districts if need be. Otherwise, I think we also have another agent. Peacemaking can also shed some light on this legislation, as well as Karen. But for my part, that will conclude my introduction to this legislation.
Thank you very much, Chief, for your report. Madam, is peacemaking on the line? Once, twice, 3 times. Okay.
I'm there. Good afternoon. Hello.
Vice Chair?
Yeah, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Who is speaking?
Vice Chair?
Madam Chair, you have the floor.
Yes, I apologize, but because we are limited on time, before we turn it over to peacemaking, I'd also like to turn the floor over to Madam AG to talk about the litigation cost that has been included in this legislation, if you would allow her the opportunity, Vice Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Attorney General, or the Attorney General's office, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Stowe and members of the Law and Order Committee. This is Doreen McPaul, Navajo Nation Attorney General, and I just want to add a little bit of information about this particular litigation, as well as the legislation that is being proposed today as well. As the committee is aware from the litigation updates that the Department of Justice provides to the leadership, we've reported on not only this particular case, but the successor year cases that are also at issue, and that the Department of Justice is litigating on behalf of the judicial branch, as well as on behalf of the Navajo Nation as a whole. I just want to clarify that this funding that has been received by the nation for this 2014 case is not a settlement. These are actual judgment dollars that have come to the nation based on the litigation. So in 2014, the nation filed this lawsuit to enforce the increase of the judicial services funding from the proposal. And that litigation was actually filed while Harrison Sosi was the Attorney General and Dana Bobroff was the Deputy Attorney General. So we have a lot of institutional knowledge just from the folks that are still working with the nation from what happened with this lawsuit starting back in 2014. But we actually got an unfavorable decision in 2016 from the district court that we then had to litigate to have that decision reversed. And it was reversed a year later by the DC Circuit Court of Appeals. And since 2017, we've had to file extraordinary mandamus petitions to get the district court to finally issue the summary judgment, which we got last June, which granted the nation the $15.7 million in compliance with the Court of Appeals decision. And then, as the committee knows, that amount is increased by the amount of statutory judgment that is, the judgment or the statutory interest that is charged from the date of the filing of the lawsuit to the date of the judgment. So these are hard-fought litigation proceedings. As the committee's aware, the Law and Order Committee serves as the oversight for Department of Justice. So as you're aware, the Department of Justice, in protecting the legal interests of the nation, has the ability through our statutory scheme to hire outside attorneys to assist when the workload demands, there's special expertise required, or they're litigating in a distant forum. And I think that all three of those issues were at play with these particular cases. And so what the committee also has with the legislation is the confidential attorney-client privilege report that outlines the amount of fixed cost litigation dollars that were spent for this matter using two different law firms, one that was replaced by the other around 2015. So I'm happy to answer any questions that the Department of Justice can answer. I do also want to share that these dollars are coming into the nation, not through the 638 contract with judicial services. And so they're not BIA dollars, but they're judgment fund dollars from the US Treasury. And so they're unrestricted. But I also do want to share that had these dollars come into the nation as they should have when the proposal was submitted and it should have been deemed approved, these dollars would have come in through that 638 agreement to go to judicial services. And I also just want to share, as I shared when we presented for the Budget and Finance Committee, that appropriating these dollars to the judicial branch is consistent with the purpose of the litigation. So that's what I want to share with the committee, and I'll stand by in case there are any questions for DOJ.
Thank you very much, Madam Attorney General. Good to hear you on the line. Madam Chair.
Okay, I should say, I think now we can hear from peacemaking. I don't know how much time we have left on the clock, but if you could recognize peacemaking at this time, should please.
Yes, peacemaking, you're on the line. You have about 4 minutes. Nomination Peacemaking Office. *6 if you need to unmute yourself.
Here we go again. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. What's your name for the record?
Uh-oh, something else is happening here. Hold on just a second. Let's try this again. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Hello?
can hear you.
Okay, this is Elaine Henderson.
asati peso pahuan hoto lestati no eko epentahuit to ni tsunti ki kwai ki ye kon si ken so zi to les la ko si eko peso pete huye to sa peta to ni ki khwalong hot ende kodo peacemaking akapata yo ne lako Lo nanjet salahot san ge kwaige judicial track holyao e kwae khahot zokeya. Esto adi ha benda ajnishiki do kwae do yego e kwae kindo nishiki be bendashilnish. Ako kwae be hawan hoto lesi hawan halon to lesi no e bendawit to sato. Edi koje ebe hash na o ligi peacemaking de niki khans khoshi e ko nishi esto kien sapete tani glen yagan hoto lesta di nikuko ako ko e the creation te ko ke ate nas e das a kala na kharat asla ko e hot a en si case nishi esto ako ko e anishi ben hat elzeniki ti the net justice but niki anishi here or in ho ashte il neheki ben hit the nal ito pa zol no action santati asni hin chagan hol hoto lestati no es sato ben da huita ako ti ko khan khoshi peso ki e ko chuito is Ashi pohonat za o kodo pe pik Dashnishiki ahun khoshi gatit ahi zlaiki shi sto chudo inskokot akoti hajo peson khasht ni nelo hajo panchas kezo ekwe chudo insliki sato nishite peacemaking nakhapenas ni to les nakhasht entato nakhash kezo zin to les eben Niche na o kan ko esil ando ko tot a niche khasti to le sako a shehe niche dingi a sako e shato aniki.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Elaine Henderson. Go ahead. Madam Chair, you have about 1 minute to sum up.
Okay, I should say, I believe that concludes our presentation at this time, and we do stand for questions.
Thank you very much for your presentation. With that, I'm going to turn over to the floor. Committee members, is there any questions to the legislation?
Sure. To another.
Honorable Eugene So, you have the floor.
With the Treaty of 1868, the trust responsibility. Since we're going to use the 638 education, Termination Education Act. That act or the treaty ain't not this kiddo. And I would like to question again.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Eugene So. The question is, which is the Khajra La'ibit Zid, which is more applicable for Navajo government to stand on the treaty or the 638 and 638 agreements. And with that, Honorable Eugene Charles Newton, should I turn that over to Madam AG?
Well, I think that is a AG question. Yes, Miss AG, Madam AG, are you on the call? Are you there?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm here.
Madam AG,
can you answer the question?
I can try to answer the question. I know that Delegate Eugene So asked about the Treaty of 1868. I don't know if the question is related to this particular litigation or if it's a general question about the treaty overall in relating to 638 agreements, but this particular litigation was based on the negotiated 638 contract. So the claims that were brought for the purposes of this litigation were based in contract and not based on the treaty. So we have that contractual 638 agreement with the BIA and the failure of the BIA to meet a statutory responsibility to approve the proposal within the time frame that they are allocated under law. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer, Madam Attorney General. And it's to the agreement, not to the treaty, because the treaty would require an act of Congress to change anything. So, with that, committee members, any other questions for the sponsors of this legislation?
Another.
Mr. Eugene So, you have the floor.
That's what I wanted to hear, because it seems that we're working more on the contract. We forgot about the treaty. We don't stand behind the treaty no more. That seems like, is that what we're doing or what? That's my next question. We're just going with the contract they're giving us so we can go by their rules, however they do it. Like a lot of funds come with 638 and some can't be used, but it's got a lot of regulations attached to it. That's how the United States government is having the controlling us. It seems that that's how I see it. Thank you.
Okay, Madam Attorney General, I'm going to refer that question to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, for this particular case, we relied on the 638 contractual relationship, and the funding for judicial services based on that contract is based on the Public Law 93-638, which allows, as you know, tribes to enter into these agreements with the federal government for funding to support services and programs and activities that would otherwise have been administered by the federal government. So instead of the federal government providing judicial services, for example, we have contracted as a nation, we've exercised that sovereign right to run those programs on our own. And what we get from the federal government is the dollars that the federal government would have otherwise spent to run those programs so that we can run the program ourselves. And so under that Public Law 93-638 statute, there it contemplates a contractual relationship. And actually there's a model 638 contract that's embedded in the statute itself. And so if we're talking about 638 matters, as we are with this particular litigation, we're most certainly talking about a contractual relationship, and we didn't need to do treaty arguments or treaty enforcement, because we have elected as a sovereign to enter into that contract under the statutory framework for not only self-determination, but self-governance. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Attorney General, for clearing that question up. Yes, and I always said that a 638 contract is basically saying we can run a better program than the federal government, and all of these 638 programs, that's what Indian tribes are saying if they go into these contracts, that the Indian tribes are saying we can do a better job than the federal government. So that's the reason why a lot of the tribes run these programs themselves, and allows them to run the programs, but there's restrictions to the funds and how dollars could be used. So other than that, Mr. Eugene So, we can opt out of 638 contract and give that responsibility back to the federal government. That's the other option to go.
Chair,
we can just do away with the 638 contract with the police department. So that's another way to go, but it's a long way to go. So with that, committee member, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I should say, and I think that rundown that was provided by Madam AG was sufficient and also does answer the question regarding treaty versus contractual obligations that are put in place right now. The one thing that I would like to add is I know that Honorable Eugene So is always talking about the treaty, and you know it is really unfortunate that the federal government doesn't really honor the treaty anymore. So there are a lot of cases where the tribes always argue that it is a treaty responsibility, but the federal government is choosing not to listen to the treaty. And so I know the 638 is a contractual obligation. It's a contract between tribes and also the federal government. And in some sense, it does, in some cases, it does, I guess, strengthen the sovereignty argument when you think in terms of, as Honorable Otto So stated, that there are tribes who are saying we can do a better job at managing our own people. So give us the money and we'll do a better job. In this case, with the judicial branch, sovereignty is a big part of our judicial system. The Navajo Nation, as far as I know, is the only tribe in the nation that allows for fundamental law. That's what makes us sovereign. And so there is no reason why the federal government should not be providing the funds needed to help us strengthen that sovereignty. And that really is kind of part of the argument that was made in this litigation or in this case. So to answer your question, Shija, Honorable Eugene, so the treaty, we do recognize it within the tribe. We do make those arguments. Unfortunately, it is oftentimes just not I guess, an argument that the federal government wants to hear because they are giving us the 638 funding. So I guess in a way they see that as instilling or promoting sovereignty. So it is a really complicated argument. I know that I know DOJ has used that sovereignty argument, but it really doesn't have very much weight behind it, and it's not a fault of the tribe. It's more or less whether the federal government is listening to those arguments or not. So again, Honorable Eugene, so the 638 contracts that are coming down are contract funds, and that's where the Navajo Nation is saying, if you give us the money, federal government, we can do a better job in managing that money and managing the services that are provided to our people. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Honorable Eugene So, you have the floor.
I still have an argument by layman's terms. Regards to the reorganized Indian tribes, I guess that's what you call it, the one that are reorganized. I guess that's the 638 contract benefits more how I understood the contract. These contract to me is just like trying to get the government to run its own government, to get it, the federal government to get away from the tribes and let them be consultation. This is what it's really about, I think, to consult them and let them run their own nation, get their own money as time goes on. So, but the thing that, the way I see it, the treaty is the one that's attached to, is the one that's in their way, the United States government. I heard that the Navajo Nation only has a treaty. The only one that has a treaty now left. I don't know if that's right or not, but we were told by our great grandfathers that the treaty is good until the grass don't grow no more and the river don't flow no more, and that's what I stand by, because I see still water and still grass growing out there. And I heard that Apache tribe were given a granite rock, and they were told when this rock becomes sand, the treaty is good. So what are those talks? And what I'm trying to get to is I have asked Dana regarding the treaty. I think we need some kind of a definition, the definition and defining, and see if we can, if any one of the DOJ or the Attorney General or someone can interpret the whole thing, the 638 and the treaty. I'm pretty sure there's pros and cons in there that you all see. And that would be my request, Chair Pro Temp Sinala, to schedule for interpretation. So as we go on, our younger generation will know what 638 is and also what the treaty is. I think it should be in school too, to let them understand, a younger generation, what it really means. Sometimes we only see it as a good, 638 is good, or treaty is good or no good, and all that stuff. I think it's about time that it should be part of the curriculum. Would be in the Navajo Tech University and the college, where they need to understand what it's all about. Because we're all up against the United States government. The way I see it, I think we should have an international lawyer, because this is an instrument. To me, I see it as an instrument of international law, a treaty. Because we made treaties with Mexico, Spain, and the United States. That's how I understand it. That's my layman's term defining my treaty. I don't. If somebody wants to give me some interpretation, put it in writing to me so I can read it some more. But that's my interpretation from my grandkids. That for my grandkids, so I can let them understand where we're at and where we're headed to. Because to me, we understand sovereignty is that we have our own laws and our own language. If we do have our own sovereignty, we wouldn't have people painted all different negative stuff on our nation, our Navajo people, or T-shirts having negative words on them. And we wouldn't have all those earrings all over our body if we had our own law. And I think that's what sovereignty really means, to run our own country with our own law, not from the Arizona Revised Statute or Utah or New Mexico or the federal. Thank you, Ashanal.
Okay, thank you very much, Nala. So I'm going to go ahead and take that as a comment, and I guess more information. Department of Justice could provide a little more information in writing to Eugene So pertaining to his questions. Please forward those documents to him so you has something to refer back to. With that, committee members, is there any other questions on the 630 contract? I don't hear anything. With that, I believe this legislation will be going to the Navajo Nation Council, and I'll save my question for Nabakiati Committee. And with that, I'm going to call for a question. Sherelle.
Nadi, one more question.
Honorable Eugene So.
Regards to the legislation, how come the heading is longer than all the other pages? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eugene So. And I'm going to turn that over to OLS. Why is the heading Office of Legislative Services or Office of Legislative Counsel? Why is the heading longer than, I guess, too long? I don't know, but I guess you can provide that answer. OLS?
Chair, are you referring to Legislative Council office?
Yes, Legislative Council, since they're the one that draft the question, but I don't hear them on the line. Office of Legislative Council.
Oh, wait. This is Dana. I couldn't figure out the mute button.
Yeah.
Thank you, Delegate So, for that question. Yeah, title is long, and just necessary to for transparency's sake, so that when the legislation is posted, people take a look at it, they can see what it is addressing. Sometimes that can be accomplished shortly. Sometimes it takes longer. Thank you, though, for the question.
Okay, thank you very much. Dana, for your question or your answer there. With that, gonna go back to, I guess I call for question and call for the question. Sherelle, go ahead and move forth with roll call vote.
Okay, Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton, how do you vote?
Charles Newton votes green.
Honorable Charles Newton votes green. Honorable Vince James, how do you vote? Honorable Eugene So, how do you vote? Honorable Edmund Yazzie, how do you vote? Honorable Vince James, how do you vote?
Delegate James votes green.
Honorable James votes green. Honorable Eugene So, how do you vote? Chair, you have 2 in favor, 0 opposed, 3 not voting, which is including the Vice Chair not voting, Honorable Edmund Yazzie absent, and Eugene So not voting.
Okay, thank you very much. 2 in favor, 0 opposed, and Chair and Vice Chair not voting. With that, motion carries and proceeds on to Navajo Committee. Honorable Eugene.
Hi. I voted green, but I was trying to punch all kind of buttons to get out of here, but finally got it back to your meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let the record reflect that Honorable Eugene So has voted green. So it'll change the voting to 3 in favor, 0 opposed, and Chair not voting. So let the record reflect that. Yeah, with that. Number 8 on the motion carries, moves on to Navajo Committee. And with that, gonna go to number 8 on the agenda, close of meeting. And with that announcement, any announcements pertaining that any information that you have?
Vice Chair, this is Delegate Charles Newton.
Madam Chair, you have the floor.
Thank you, Vice Chair, Audit Committee members as well. Vice Chair, at 1:15 today, we did receive an email from Shami Begay, who is the legislative advisor for RDC. RDC called a leadership meeting for tomorrow with the, I believe it's with the Department of Resource Enforcement. They called a leadership meeting with Law and Order Committee, with the Department of Public Safety for the Navajo Nation, with the judicial branch. And again, we just received the email at 1:15 asking us to be in attendance at this meeting scheduled for tomorrow. As chair, I did respond to that email, and I said that I am concerned about this late notice, and I asked if Law and Order Committee called a meeting that required RDC members to be in attendance, would RDC allow for this meeting to proceed? And I also asked that respect be given to the Law and Order Committee because of this meeting being called at the last minute. It is unfortunate that the Law and Order Committee was forgotten to be contacted, but I did make that email known And I did also state that if DPS cannot attend, that I would understand, because again, this was all last minute. But it sounds like the meeting is scheduled for tomorrow. RDC did call for the meeting, and the leadership meeting will begin at 9:00 a.m. I understand if the Law and Order Committee members cannot attend during that time, I will have to reschedule and rearrange my schedule for tomorrow in order to attend this leadership meeting. But if the Law and Order Committee members cannot attend, I'll be happy to assist in a report to provide this committee information about what the leadership meeting was about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I do agree that I wish the committee would have been informed. I guess it's not a joint committee meeting. So if committee members would like to be a part of that meeting tomorrow, you can. Then again, yes, they should have at least informed us. And and if I have time tomorrow, I may get on there too. So but leadership meetings are open to the delegates. So and then usually leadership meeting does not have any voting. There's no really cannot do any action on voting on anything. It's more of an informational based meeting with leadership. So okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair, for that for that heads up. With that, committee members, any other announcements?
One question to you, should sit.
Eugene, so you have the floor.
Not too Saturday yet down the grade. Representative Krishi Kayen, so said somebody list on this need so, and I was wondering if anything is going to come out of that, because Arizona is run by Republicans. Whatever we say to her or anybody else that's Democrat is not going to go. It seems that way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Chair, I'm going to turn that to you. Turn that over. You have the floor.
Oh, yeah, Suja. Thank you for. I have that paperwork. As far as your second question about whether Arizona will be assisting with that project, we don't know. I guess that would be a question for Representative Nygren. And just for clarification, we did meet with Representative Nygren on Friday, not Saturday. We did meet with her on Friday. Myself, Honorable Eugene So, and Honorable Vince James. We had the opportunity to meet with her, I guess separately, to address the different issues that are happening here on the nation. But we did meet with her on Friday. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, committee members, any other announcements you have? Anyone getting married or something? Announcement. Committee members, just look down on your agenda. There's the next meeting scheduled March 8th, regular committee meeting, March 15th, regular committee meeting, and March 22nd, regular committee meeting. We are having a Navajo Hopi Land Commission meeting tomorrow at 2 o'clock. That's that meeting was going to occur this past Thursday, but we're still getting some document information together. So we moved that meeting up to tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And I believe this coming Thursday, we have a regular scheduled Nabi committee meeting. So that is this coming Thursday. The other is that I guess that's about it for now. Thank you very much, committee members. And
Nabi, one thing, one more.
announcement, Eugene So. What's your announcement?
Oh, it's an announcement. I'm going to announce this morning I've been receiving some email that was back in April and all last year regards to a cancellation of the special session of the Navajo Nation Council. And Daniel So, how did that came about? Is a special session still on Friday? That's my question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shinale, Mr. So. Office of the Speaker, Mr. Henley, can you respond to that?
Good afternoon, Vice Chair. My apologies. Can I hear the question again?
Mr. Henley, there was an email that went out, I think yesterday, by Honorable Daniel So, saying that there was a legislative or there was a council meeting pertaining to a certain date. And then this morning, I believe he might have canceled change. He actually did a cancellation on the on his phone, indicating that the Navajo Nation Special Council session is canceled. So I believe there's some confusion there, and I believe that just to maybe get it to the correct people so that they are informed that the special council meeting is going on, or was it really canceled? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. As of right now, we did get an update from Mr. Rico over at Legislative Services. The special session petition is still active. There are 11 council delegates who have confirmed. So as of right now, it looks like it's still going for Friday, February 26th at 1 p.m. This is as of this morning at 8:30 a.m.
Vice Chair, this is Delegate Charles Newton.
Hold on, Madam Chair. Let me go to this thing real quick here. LOC members that have not concurred to the special session is Honorable Edmund Yazi, Honorable Eugene So, and Honorable Vince James. And Madam Chair, you have not signed the special petition for legislation 0006-20, which is petition for February 26th at 1 p.m. I went ahead and signed that. They need one more. But if there is individuals out there, you can send an email to Manuel Rico, indicating that to go ahead and give your via email approval to agree for your signature to be placed onto the special petition. So that's what's here at the delegate's office. Madam Chair?
Yeah, so and just to be clear, I did send an email to Manuel Rico on Friday, February 19th, 2021 at 5:21, asking him or telling him that I am signing up for the special session via email. So I'll double check with him to make sure that he did receive my email, but I did send that on Friday. So that's one. The second thing, Donovan, is I think the confusion with what is happening, and I've brought this up to Cheryline, the Chief of Staff already, is that the email is coming from Daniel So. We don't, and I've asked why Daniel So is sending out emails about the special petition, or anytime we have a special council meeting, to like why we're receiving that. The most recent one that we got, actually, and I took a picture of it, and I was getting ready to send that out to the Chief of Staff, was the email that we received on Friday, again, which came from Daniel So. So I think anytime that there is a change that Daniel makes in his meeting, that it changes everything for the rest of us. But to be clear, on Saturday at 2:17 p.m., I did take a snapshot, and it was an email sent by Daniel So talking about the special session. But what was on that email, which was really strange, is that it was a proposed agenda for November 10th, 2020. So again, I'm not really sure what is going on, but that is one of the issues that I did bring up with Chief of Staff. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I guess, Madam Chair and Donovan, you probably, I know you're listening. See if you can raise those concerns to the Chief of Staff to try to nip that so that there's no confusion out there. Out on the, I believe there should only be one person issuing those meetings, and I really like what Donovan does when the meeting is scheduled, and I think there, I think it needs to be addressed administratively. Who do we get that information? Who sends that out? And I know Manuel sends that out also, and that's usually legitimate when I see something from Manuel or when it's from the advisors. But yes, that was definitely something. It was confusion. There was a confusion there, and we just need to, I guess, find a way to take care of that so there's no other confusion in the future. Again, thank you very much pertaining to that. Gonna move on. I don't think there's any more announcements. But with that, I'm gonna go to the next item on the agenda, and that's for adjournment. I'm gonna call for a motion to adjourn. Calling for a motion to adjourn, going once.
Charles Newton makes the motion.
Motion by Honorable Charles Newton. Madam Chair, can call for a seconding motion. Seconding motion for motion to adjourn. Gonna go once.
James.
Honorable James Shanale. Good to hear you. Okay, thank you very much. Motion second in place, and with that, no conversation on that. So, Nota, Ms. Nota, Sherelle, go ahead and proceed with roll call vote.
Okay, Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Honorable Charles Newton votes green. Honorable Vince James, how do you vote?
Delegate James votes green. Thank you. Have a good day.
Honorable James votes green. Honorable Eugene So, how do you vote?
So the difference is
Honorable Eugene So, how do you vote?
Freeland sign and Haniel sign.
Honorable Edmund Yazi, how do you vote?
13.
Edmund Yazi.
Vice Chair, you have 2 in favor, 0 opposed, 3 not voting.
Haniel, Mark Freeland.
Okay, thank you very much. Motion carries. 3 in favor, 0 opposed, and chair not voting. Correct, Sherelle?
Yes.
And Edmund Yazi absent. With that,
Chair, Vice Chair, it's 2 in favor, 0 opposed, 3 not voting. Eugene So didn't vote.
Okay, Honorable Eugene So didn't vote. So with that, motion carries. We are adjourned at 1:50 p.m. We have 13 people who confirmed for the special session scheduled for the 26th. Manuel Rico will be sending out the email to confirm the Navajo Nation Council special meeting for February 26, 2021 at 1 p.m. in Winter Rock, Arizona. Thank you very much for being on the meeting. presenters, thank you for being on the line. Staff, thank you for being on the line and putting up with us. And be safe out there and enjoy your day.
Green, Eugene, so.
Oh, all right, Eugene. So let the record. Eugene So's vote is green. So 3 in favor, 0 opposed, and chair not voting. Thank you very much. See you all. Be safe.
Good night.